sweet with sour moods. I guess she's all I'm after. My little girl got a sour side, but you know I'm a sucker for some sweetness. Every weekend pulls you in, she knows your weakness. I tell her she's my princess, she just wants to be queen. I call her pineapple-ish. She says, what do you mean? She got an attitude. I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods. I need another double. She got an attitude. I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods. I guess she's all I'm after. Yeah, take a slice and look inside. You see the sweet, the nice, the harmless vice, the cold as ice. I need my pineapple consistently. I eat religiously, I need my sweetness instantly. And every time that she's around, she's sweet, I'm signing this, she's sour. Just wait an hour, my little flower. And every time that she's around, she's sweet, I'm signing this, she's sour. Just wait an hour, my little flower. She might be everything I need, but she's so sour, yeah. But she's so sour. If only she was just as sweet, but she's too sour, yeah. Yeah, she's too sour. She got an attitude. I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods. I need another double. She got an attitude. I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods. I guess she's all I'm after. She got an attitude. I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods. I need another double. She got an attitude. I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods. I guess she's all I'm after.
Did you notice I've been lost, staying up to the break of dawn, hoping that you'll show a little warmth, but you know I feel the coldest when I'm wrapped around your finger. Did you notice that you put me through the wrinkle when you said that you needed solace that I can't offer you? I found the light in all this, something to get me through. Now every day is a challenge, top down, blowing smoke out. It's not good for my balance. It sounds great, but I'm burnt out. 'Cause now the drugs aren't working. I've taken all I can, but my heart's still hurting. This can't be all I am. 'Cause leaving me so lonely only left me half a man. Now the highs aren't worth it, the drugs aren't working. Did you notice when I passed you yesterday that I was frozen? Thinking, flashing back, I can't live in the moment. My heart's still in the past, but we ain't spoken since you left me broken. When you said that you needed solace that I can't offer you, I found the light in all this, something to get me through. Now every day is a challenge, top down, blowing smoke out. It's not good for my balance. It sounds great, but I'm burnt out. 'Cause now the drugs aren't working. I've taken all I can, but my heart's still hurting. This can't be all I am. 'Cause leaving me so lonely only left me half a man. Now the highs aren't worth it, the drugs aren't working. Now the drugs aren't working. I've taken all I can, but my heart's still hurting. This can't be all I am.
leaving me so lonely, only left me half a minute. Never had already.
I've been on my way up, now it's really far down. I don't think I'll feel it when I hit the ground. In October it feels like summertime. I keep falling for you like every night. Been communicating through satellites, yeah. It's black and white. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day. Like day by day. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day. Like day by day. You're the only sunset that I'll never forget. Red and orange sorbet, like it is the best yet. In October it feels like summertime. I keep falling for you like every night. Been communicating through satellites, yeah. It's black and white. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day. Like day by day. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day. Like day by day. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day.
Let's hope.
Hello there, everybody. How are we all? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. It's a later than usual stream tonight, but I'm with a bona fide American. Hello there, HanzOfHarkir.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, everybody. You can call me Hanz, HanzOfHarkir, and I just started mine as well. So, hey, everyone who's trickling in. Kevin, would you like to introduce yourself to them?
Yes, I'm Kevin Logan. I'm an Australian. No, I'm only joking. I'm a British lefty YouTube/Twitch streamer. You should unsubscribe from Hanz and come and subscribe to me, because that's the way around it works.
I mean, you should definitely on Twitch. Like, you can take all my subs. Like, I don't ask for subs because like my work's doing pretty fine right now. So I only ask for follows. So if you're following Kevin, or you're subscribed to Kevin and you just want to follow someone else because it doesn't cost you anything, feel free to follow me as well. So
yeah, no, I'm only joking. Everyone go and check out Hanz's channels. They're linked below under the YouTube. I don't know how to link things under the Twitch individual videos. They don't seem to have that option, because Twitch is a bit annoying. But there you go. Go and check out Hanz's stuff. Yeah, do you want to explain who you are and what you're about?
Of course. So again, I'm Hanz. I'm 23. I'm a big boy. I like politics, obviously. I have a degree in public policy. And I am you could call me like a social democrat or a market socialist in terms of like econ stuff. Super progressive. Some people call me a lib, but I like to consider myself a lefty, so I have a good time, and I like empirical evidence for lots of like positions and stuff, and I like having discussions on literally anything, and I just want the left to be successful electorally and unelectorally. So that's my whole goal, is like, make people's lives better, right? So.
Awesome, cool. So in terms of the two gentlemen we have on the screen right now, they're not going to be the entirety of the discussion. We're going to be talking about all kinds of current affairs and bits and bobs. But we wanted to kick off with what is the fire raging across the internet left right now? That being, should we be friends with fascists or not?
Even like if we want to be like as charitable as possible to like the specific Boogaloo boys who might not technically be fascists, I'm not sure you want to be like a team, like in the same team as just like aggressive like ANCAP anarchists either, because that doesn't feel like that's like antithetical to any left-leaning goals, because they want to destroy like the systems of the state that actually help people, and then the other ones want to like erect new systems of state that actively hurt everybody. So it's like it's not a good like spot regardless, like no matter what flavor of Boogaloo boy. Like if they're all, when I was doing like the research like on their history, they have white nationalists in there, they have the ANCAPs in there. They're basic, like the only thing that really unites them is that they want another civil war to like destroy like certain institutions, and I just don't really like that, you know. So one of my people said please don't call them anarchists, it hurts my soul. And it's like they're like legitimately like the caricature of anarchists that a lot of like establishment or like liberal types like say in like the mainstream, like in like the mainstream media. Like they're literally the meme in terms of like they just want to like blow shit up for whatever reason, whether it's because they're like Nazis or whether because like they just really hate social safety nets that bad. Like all of them are awful, but like I think I would agree with you that fascists are the worst ones. Yeah,
someone literally said in mine, ANCAPs are not anarchist, which is basically true. They're not. But Jimmy makes the point in one of his videos recently about this in response to it, because obviously he got called out for having the guy on the left there is a Boogaloo boy prick. He's one of the least or one of the less offensive ones, but still I don't care. Look at the old adage about if you're having dinner on a table with 3 fascists, there are 4 fascists there. I don't really care that he's like got a rainbow flag behind him. That doesn't really matter. A lot of his acolytes want to shoot gay people or shoot BLM protesters or whatever, so I don't really care. But Jimmy makes the point about that. He goes, "Oh, libertarians." He was called out. You say I'm flirting with libertarians. Oh no, yeah, that's a problem, because when you say libertarian in the American context, we understand it to mean like right wing. Fucking deregulate everything, let's pollute the water and have a personal nuclear stockpile. These are crazy people. These are not good people.
Yeah, like when you say libertarian, like I think most people, like I'm not personally like a left-leaning anarchist, but I can understand that on a lot of issues I'm totally fine allying with them, because like it seems like, at least in the short term, right, a lot of goals make sense, and that's why it feels kind of odd in terms of like looking for allies, where it's like on the left at least, or even like left adjacent people, like you have people who are, say, I would say like authoritarian left in terms of like certain things, like in terms of like state policy and like in terms of welfare policy. You have suck dems and you have libertarian lefties who all like on certain like basic issues, like in terms of wages or creating like special like a social safety net stuff, all of us kind of like tacitly agree. So like we agree on policy, and then if you're on the left, you know, like fingers crossed, like you probably don't hate like any specific oppressed minority group. So it seems like there's a reason why we can all be friends, even if we like disagree. Like at the end of the day, like in 50 years, like if I like, you know, turn around with my black cloak and I'm like, haha, I'm not for the abolishment of the entire state. Like we can have that discussion then, but like that's not anywhere where we're like anywhere near where we are right now. And it just feels so strange, especially with like because I feel like some people on the left would call like suck dems libs, and like that's totally fine, but I would like I'll take suck dems a million times over it. Even like some progressive libs, like the Elizabeth Warrens, like obviously they're not like down for like the entire struggle, but they want like to regulate banks and like do social safety net stuff, and they don't hate minorities. So it seems like they're a lot closer to what you would want than like, you know, specifically the one like ANCAP like Boogaloo boy, right? Like it just feels weird.
Yeah, exactly. This is the big bugbear I have with people like Jimmy. And I don't want it to just be about him, but he's made himself the story here. The way in which he will respond to AOC or anyone basically in the Democratic Party, because Jimmy seems to think that shouting at Democrats is a perfectly adequate replacement for having some sort of semblance of personality or an interesting, witty thing to say, which it isn't. But he will rant and rave about fuck AOC. I'm going to hold her feet to the fire. She's a piece of shit. Rah rah rah. Because she doesn't support my losing strategy. Whereas he'll go on Tucker Carlson and suck his dick. He'll bring this evil prick on and suck his dick. That's not like you show me who you are. I don't care what you claim to believe. You show me who you are through your actions.
Yeah. That's the easiest way to say it. Oh, sorry, I just burped right into the mic. But in terms of who's like who deserves your ire the most, right? He spent the last 3 weeks like absolutely railing against everyone who wasn't like force the vote.
Yeah.
And it's like that's like specific like difference in strategy, right? Like supposedly he and AOC have like, relatively like the same platform with the specific difference, the strategy in terms of like trying to immediately pass Medicare for all versus like saying that it can't pass under like an existing Biden administration, so we shouldn't like push for it. Everything else, they seems like relatively in lockstep, but it's okay to be like as vicious as possible towards those kinds of people. Whereas like you have a guy who like, and even the best Boogaloo boy they can find was just saying, oh, I don't hate like, gays or minorities. It's like, that's a big like, big congratulations for that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's so far from what like, I would say needs to like happen or what needs to exist. And it just feels wrong. It feels like he's going for some sort of like, again, like the Red Brown Alliance like meme. I really don't like it. It's like it literally is. You've probably seen that meme too, where it's like there's a BLM guy who's like, oh, you also want to tear down the corrupt establishment, and like there's a QAnon person's like, yes, I do, and both their thought bubbles. One has like free public libraries, and the other one is like Auschwitz. So it's like it's not the same in terms of like it's like So a lot of smarter people than me have always said, like, it doesn't matter whether you agree on the problems. It matters much more that you agree on the solutions. Because if you don't, because like it's very easy to both say, oh, hey, like things are messed up right now. It's like, yeah, no shit. But like, do you mean it because people aren't getting healthcare, or do you mean it because like blacks can still vote? Like
Well, exactly. Yeah. These people, like Jimmy's friend Tucker Carlson, will come out and say occasionally, corporations are bad, aren't they? And you can go, well, yeah, obviously, but why do you think corporations are bad? And he'll say something like wokeness or something, rather than they're polluting everything in human society and the and the ecosystem. They're destroying the planet. They're impoverishing billions. So, like you say, yeah, you have to agree on the solutions rather than the issues, because everyone can see that things are kind of fucked up. So it's no like you don't get a certificate of genius for working out, oh, well, the system isn't really working for people right now. Of course it's fucking not. The world's on fire.
That's the lowest possible bar. It's like, you think there are also problems?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's why...
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Okay. Oh, no, you go first. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say, yeah, it's not like you're not a master, super brained individual for working out that when there are riots and a pandemic that's being handled really badly, and racist idiots like the Boogaloos going around, that things aren't exactly hunky dory right now. That's not a huge leap forward in human knowledge.
Absolutely. And then that's why I would say, like, in terms of like looking for people who agree with you on like specific solutions, like I know there are like legitimate, like honest to God, like self-defining libs who agree with like a good like percentage of like, at least not the left, but like, at least like AOC's agenda, right? They're like, oh yeah, like I like minimum wage increases, or like, oh yeah, I'm like tacitly for like single payer healthcare, or just something like, yeah, like really something as simple as like expanding the minimum wage. Like an ANCAP doesn't want to expand the minimum wage, and like some libs might not be down for their struggle. Like they might come through like through a different like area, right? Like I've talked to some of my like business oriented friends, and they're like, yeah, I like the idea of single payer healthcare, not because like human like everyone getting guaranteed healthcare is all right, but because I think it makes like the economy function more efficiently. And it's like, I'll take that. Like I'm not happy with it, but like that's a situation of like where I'm agreeing on the solution with somebody who might like get there by different means. Yeah. That's totally okay.
Yeah, well, actually, to answer the person in my chat who was saying that I was a Hillary Clinton supporter, that's not really true. I argued, and I think given the last 4 years, rather correctly, I've been vindicated on this, that voting for Hillary Clinton would have been a hell of a lot better than voting for the fascist guy.
Oh, yeah.
Just like this time. Like, I mean, I'm not a Biden supporter. I think Biden's a prick. But of the two pricks, he was the significantly less prickish prick.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's the point I would make. Like, if you want to build a better society, you have to at least stop it getting worse first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen like a lot of like takes where it's like, oh, like it's less of a step like in the right direction, more in a step like less in like bad in the wrong direction. And I would just tell those people like specifically, it doesn't seem like we're like you're paying attention. Like again, it's only been what like a couple days, but Biden's executive orders so far have been like pretty solid as far as I can tell. Like in terms of like the trans rights stuff, in terms of like his actual bill, like he's trying to do like the $15 minimum wage thing, and it's even more aggressive than like the plan like Bernie was running on like in his like presidential platform. Like I think it like brings the minimum wage to $15 an hour a year before Sanders did. And again, like if we can say that wasn't like enough on Sanders' part, but you can't say like, oh, like Bernie was for minimum wage and Biden's not, when Biden comes out with a, like, effectively a more progressive plan and then just says like, oh no, now I want 25. It's like, it makes it, I dislike that in terms of messaging, because it feels like it makes the left look like we're doing things in bad faith. Like we can't just give credit where like credit exists. Like you don't have, like when you say like Biden does a good thing, it doesn't take away like all the horrible things he's done, all the horrible things like he has supported. It in no way does that. But it does tell like the libs that supposedly are like philosophically closer to us on the political spectrum than like the far right people that like Jimmy Dore seems interested in. They're like, hey, we actually can have a conversation in good faith, and we're gonna try and convince you on the merits, as opposed to just saying libs bad, libs bad, libs bad, and then like every time there's like a far right kook, we're just like, oh, I guess you have some points because you also dislike the establishment. Like,
yeah, that's pretty fucking disgusting. Yeah, that's pretty gross. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. Like Biden, again, I'm not a fan, but I advocated voting for him because even if you have to go and hold your nose to do so, you get rid of Donald Trump. And I think already we've seen the advantages of that, given he's brought a lot of goodwill with me, certainly, in terms of the executive orders he signed. Like, and again, as you pointed out, there are a lot of people on the left for whom, and they've got the kind of Jimmy Dore disease, where they think just hating the Democrats is an ideology, and it isn't. It's not a concrete set of ideas. It's just you being a kind of political hipster prick. Like, yeah, libs bad. Okay, so what exactly? Where does that take you? What do you achieve by pointing that out? What do you achieve by when Joe Biden puts forward, like you say, a more progressive plan in many respects than Bernie Sanders had in terms of the minimum wage? And by the way, people don't seem to realise that the 2025. They're going to raise it gradually over the next 4 years. That was in Bernie Sanders' plan too.
Yeah,
everyone was like, "Oh, he's based. He's so based." And yet, when Joe Biden then actually implements that, that's bad. I'm sorry, you reveal yourself to be a fucking clueless idiot at that point. I don't care really what you have to say on the matter. You've sold any political efficacy you could have had for wanting to feel smug.
Yeah, it's just like it's because it's so easy to say like fuck libs, right? Because like anything Biden does, or even like even like depending on like where you are, like in terms of like how left of like center you are, you can even look at some of Bernie's proposals and say like this isn't big enough, this isn't far enough. Yeah. But like when someone does something that like accomplishes something towards your agenda, like you can't just saying like fuck you, like it wasn't enough, will never get them to listen to you at all. Like I had this argument, again, this is like a Twitter argument, so like obviously like take it with a grain of salt. I was defending like the climate plan, where I was like, hey, like you get like that $2 trillion is not like a small amount of money like towards like getting like green tech in the United States. Like that's really important. And if you do that, and someone was like, oh, that's not like enough, like that's the same as like having $100 for it. I'm like, I don't think you understand how fucking money works. Like that's a lot of fucking money. Like, like or like having like or it seems like it's very odd in terms of an analysis of like the years for like various plans, because even like the Green New Deal, it was like, I think it was like by 2030 or 2035 in terms of like timeline, right? Yeah. It almost feels like even if Biden implemented the Green New Deal, they were like, why can't you get off like, all like non-green like tech by tomorrow? And it's like, that's just not how like systems work. There's a certain level of inertia in like structured societies that you can't just like flip a switch and like turn it on and off. Like we can't just like turn into green tech right now. We have to build it all first because we don't have enough of it. Like there's just like all sorts of stuff that needs to happen. Yeah, because the thing is, right, if you tried to do that, if you tried to just go onto all green tech tomorrow, the lights would fucking go off because you don't have enough of it. You have enormous, gargantuan cities who just eat up energy. You have gas-guzzling cars which just fucking eat up energy. If you decided tomorrow to go into just green energy, you would all fucking die because refrigeration would stop. The heating would stop, all of it. It would go off. You don't have enough. You run on
fuel first and foremost. You've got coal, you've got nuclear and stuff. Although would you add nuclear as part of that? Whatever. Either way, you don't have the infrastructure right now. And like you say, on a societal level, in order to provide for 330 million fucking people, you have to build infrastructure. Regardless of what change you wish to make, you have to actually build a thing. And you don't have that thing. So maybe start the process at least.
Yeah, especially right now where it's like, I've seen a lot of people advocate for degrowth, and like I don't think it's the best argument in terms of like fixing problems, but in terms of electorally, it's just like it feels dead in the water because you're essentially telling people your material conditions will have to go down.
Yeah,
and that's never Republicans run on it. They like like mix it up with like all sorts of like inbred like racism and stuff like that to make it like more palatable to racists. But like if you tell like Democrats like, oh hey, we're going to make your lives like materially worse, then who's going to vote for you? Because you're not doing like the Republican dog whistle shit. So like you're literally just going to tell people, oh yeah, like, you can only use the lights like 4 days a week. And it's like, oh fuck, that's going to fucking suck. Like, what am I supposed to do in the winter? Like all sorts of like things that like, oh yeah, you'll get more likes on Twitter, but like it doesn't do anything like well. And it's a really weird time to jump into like online politics. Like I started this, like my channel, like I think about 6 months ago now, but like I've only been like the streaming game for like probably a month at this point. And so much of it just feels like, I'm like, guys, like we should be a little bit happier. Like, again, like Bernie lost and like that, like, I cried for a week. And like, I was like, I gave him a ton of time in my senior year of college.
Whoa. He can still win. What are you talking about?
He gets part one of 8,007. Like how many people has to die before like the budget chairman of the Senate becomes president?
Yeah, he's in line there. It can happen. They're all fucking old. It could happen.
Like, except Pete Buttigieg. I saw like a meme where it was like, I think he's like 14th in line, and it's like everyone's like, he immediately Googled that shit. Like as soon as he was declared like Secretary of Transportation, how many people? Yeah. But or that thing with like Klobuchar and him, he like did a book that was called Trust, and she did a book called Antitrust that's supposed to come out like next year.
I do love political bitchiness. It can be very fun.
Like they're just like, it's so funny because I need to like read more up on Amy Klobuchar, but like it seems like there so much like political drama is literally just personalities like hitting each other, or at least like that's what it feels like sometimes. But did you hear like that amazing? Sorry, like super off topic, but did you hear that thing where apparently McConnell caved on the filibuster, and so like the Senate might actually be able to do things? Yes, like that's fucking awesome. Like I'm so pumped about that because like what I want, right, is I would love there to be no say like obstacles to the Democrats doing the good things beyond just like the Democrats fucking it up, so that next time like if we don't solve the problems, then like it sets the stage for hopefully like a more left-leaning candidate, right? Like if Biden fails to solve the problems, then hopefully we'll say, oh, we need to go bigger as opposed to we need to go smaller, right? Like I want the full force of the government trying and failing to solve problems, because that means next time we'll have to like go even harder. And like that's something that like someone like me who wants like specifically like a lot more like powerful government institutions in terms of like safety nets and stuff, like that's something that I want desperately. And the only way to do that is have libs fail when libs do like have all like all the controls, because if Republicans stop them, like I think you've like I've seen like I don't know where you're at on this. It's like I'm a big fan of like the concept of like Trump derangement syndrome, and not in that like people are like, oh, Trump's especially bad. I mean, like, he's especially horrible, but that libs and like Democrats in general can't seem to understand systemic issues unless it's like directly tied to like Orange Man being bad. Orange Man is like obviously like probably like the worst president in modern history, like arguably tied with Bush, or like we can like that's like a whole nother like discussion. But like unless it's Democrats who are fucking up, and you can't like draw a direct line to Republicans like stopping them. Like if Mitch had the filibuster, then suddenly we're just like, oh, like it was Mitch's fault, and that's cool. But that means like there's no incentive to go further left in the primary next time. We want to give them incentive to go farther left.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no, I'm with you. It's essentially that's why the Georgia results were so important, because now they've got no fucking excuse. They've got they've got control of both chambers. They've got the presidency. Do some fucking shit. Like, you've got 2 years, otherwise you're going to get fucked on in the midterms. So do some shit, and you actually have the opportunity to freeze the Republicans out for a generation. Yeah, it's a genuinely massive opportunity. And he started okay. We'll wait and see where things go from here, but he started okay, Yeah,
it's like there's nothing, as far as I can tell, there's nothing that he's done yet that should like draw like extreme levels of ire. It's almost like everything he's done has been good, but like just not just like certain people's standards, where it's like the trans-military thing, where it's like you let, you know, people in the United States, where like the military, like, you know, for all of its flaws, gives a, you know, an economic leg up for a lot of people, especially people like in poor situations, right? Like gives them like a ton of opportunity. Like that's really fucked up, like on its face. But specifically, like excluding trans people from that, or any group like minority from that opportunity, like in and of itself, is a bad thing, because like trans people in America are already like really fucking suffering. But if like you do like that small thing, and then someone's like, oh, like, you know, we don't care about like, you know, trans people being able to like work, it's like, then at that point it just seems like you're against anything that isn't already the end game, and that's just not how politics seems to work. And that's really frustrating for like someone like me who's like super hyped about like, you know, even like small social stuff. I'll be happy. Like obviously I want more, but like maybe like like letting everyone suffer like the same level of shittiness under capitalism is better than like having some people suffer like 20,000% more because they're trans or black or gay or something, right? Like this feels really bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's letting the perfect be the good of the enemy, in like a kind of political hipster fashion as well. Like if you're annoyed that Joe Biden hasn't instituted entirely workplace democracy and worker co-ops and or fucking gulags or something, whatever you particularly fancy, then you're an idiot who doesn't know what the fuck was going to happen. He's doing the best, realistically so far, that he could have done, given that we know what he is. He wasn't going to institute socialism, people. He wasn't going to get rid of imperialism, partly because I don't think it's necessarily always under the purview of the American government what happens there. There are powers outside of that, if that makes sense. The military-industrial complex is a kind of wild beast in some respects. Anyway,
totally fair, yeah.
But the point being that, it's important for trans people to feel equal and right in the society in which they live. And if that means, like you say, opening up the opportunity for the education that military provides, and again, it's fucked up that the people are poor enough where that needs to be a consideration, but it is a consideration, and so... yeah, it's generally speaking a good move inside a system that's not ideal.
Yeah, it's like when I read through like Biden's like essentially like his entire platform. That's like when he was most progressive, right? Like, and my entire philosophy has just been, I'm going to hold him to like that relatively progressive platform that he supposedly ran on, right? Like I'm not going to pretend like when he like advocates for like a public option that it's not single payer, because I knew he wasn't going to like do single payer. He said he wasn't going to sign single payer, so it's like. Yeah. So like as long as Biden is president, I will hold him specifically just to a public option, because that's like what he said he was going to do. It's really frustrating, and like I think this happens like in political discourse in terms of like trying to gesture at hypocrisy a lot, where you'll like say someone supports something, or not even say they support something. You'll just get mad at someone for not doing something when they said they were never going to do it, and that feels like a really like just generally like bad way to do politics, or like bad way to live your life, because it feels like you're just always going to be disappointed because you're hoping for something that really is kind of impossible. And I'm not even saying like single payer is impossible in the United States. Like I support single payer in the United States. Like I want like the full like UK system, like what you guys have, like and like cover everything, like, you know, like mental, like dental, like all sorts of like that sort of shit. Like and I think that's entirely possible inside the American system. It just like specifically under this president. No, and I would happily try and support someone who would primary him, like, you know, if he's still alive in 2024, I'd be totally fine, like, you know, having that battle. But like, it's just not, it's not going to happen. And I'm going to, I'll be like, I'll always be like disappointed. I think that's a pretty fair thing to always say, like, yeah, I'm always going to be sad about like, you know, because Biden doesn't like do enough. But like, I won't be explicitly like mad at him or like be more or like, because I knew he was never going to do that in the first place. Like if say he tries to pass like a public option and he fucks it up and only like expands Medicaid, I'll take the Medicaid win, but I'll still be like, this wasn't what you promised me. Like it's still like you failed. Yeah. And I think that's a fair fucking criticism, as opposed to he's not doing Medicare for all. And when he literally says, I will veto the fucking thing, even if like it gets past the House and Senate. So it's like,
well, exactly, yeah. You should hold politicians' feet to the fire and push them for as much as you can get. But if they don't go further than they said they were going to go, I don't know that you can really criticise them for that, other than the general, they should have wanted more. But if they do what they promised they were going to do, then surely that's okay, that's fine. Like they didn't sell you on a false prospectus, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And then turning it back to like what we were talking about. So what are what would say like be the because I had a conversation about this before. What are like the lines for you in terms of like allying with someone politically, right? Because I think that's something that is like what should be the conversation happening with Dore right now, aside from just dunking on him mercilessly for like trying to like insinuate that we should ally with at the best ANCAPs, at the worst fascists. Like it seems like everyone has like a limit in terms of like who they're willing to like be okay with, right?
Yeah.
And so what would like your personal like limitations be, like whether it's on social policy or economic policy, in terms of like things you are tasked with being fine with being on the same side as someone, or being with just that, like what are your like, say if you have to have hard lines, what are your hard lines for like economic and social like policy?
Okay, well, in terms of pragmatism, I think should be able to extend significantly beyond your own sort of grouping on individual issues, right? Like we've seen Bernie work with Rand Paul on state surveillance in America in the Senate. I think that's a perfectly worthwhile thing. But you're not like standing on a platform with him saying we're together. You're just working on an individual issue, and that's fine. In terms of actual genuine alliance, I won't accept people who are overtly, horrifically racist. There are going to be people who are going to be ignorant and uneducated on certain things, and it's your job within the movement to try and sort of knock out those kinks from the system, if that makes sense, or knock out those not kinks in the sexual sense, as a small dent in the issue. So in terms of racism, because in terms of Jimmy Dore, I was discussing this yesterday. He goes on about it being divisive, that that you would be against him uniting with the Boogaloo Boys. But for me, it's more divisive to the working class who are overrepresented with people of colour and gay folks and trans folks than the general population, to employ strategical. Pardon me. Strategic alliances with. Thank you very much. Strategic alliances with people like the Boogaloo Boys, basically shitting on your working class allies of colour, for instance, or your gay working class working class allies. So for me, it's more divisive to ally yourself with people who are racist, who are sexist, who are homophobes. Again, that's not to say that we have to do some sort of weird purity test thing, because there are going to be people who are, like I say, uneducated, and it's partly through exposure to working class radical politics that they'll begin to learn that, oh, actually, no, black people aren't bad. I don't need to be fearful. And they'll grow themselves personally that way. So racism, and explicitly violent racism in the form of like this Boogaloo race war bullshit, that's obviously a no-no. I can't believe he's tried to pull this shit. In terms of economic policy, wow, because I'm quite pessimistic about the extent to which humanity can achieve socialism, certainly within my lifetime. I'm happy to ally myself with even liberals, really, or SocDems or whatever, just on the basis that it's better than what the alternative is. And I'm just interested. I'm pretty damn sure I will never see socialism, so passing on to the next generation a better system. So whether it be like a kind of Scandinavian SocDem type situation would be better than throwing your hands in the air and going, oh, never mind, and letting the neoliberals or the fascists just take over and go crazy.
Did you see it? There was this I saw this article the other day where it was like the SocDem parties, I think it was like in Sweden, like they're really struggling to get like the young people, because they don't have like any real like more ideas to advocate for, because like they kind of won, right? Like they already got like the SocDem like paradise. And so now everyone's like, we want new ideas. Like, this is the establishment. And then like, so they're more like they're more favorable towards like the Communist Party, or like the far right parties. Like no young people, because like being a SocDem is boring, because like my dad's a SocDem, and like it's that sort of shit. Like, so it's fucking weird, because it's like you think that they would just kind of be like happy. It's like, oh, like we hit it. Like, until communism, like this is as good as shit's gonna get. Like, just gotta wait.
Well, that's why I always see it as a stepping stone, because for me, it's like you say, it leads to stable but boring society, I suppose, because it's still capitalism at the end of the day, but it's comfortable, so it becomes slightly stale, And so, like you said, you have to use it as a stepping stone and then radicalise and do actual socialism at some point. And if the suck Dems don't realise that, unfortunately, the what's called the Sweden Democrats, the far right party, might end up becoming a genuinely massive political force there and maybe making it to government at some point, which would be fucking dreadful.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it makes a good point. And you make a good point in terms of like, it feels like any political system like is always like inherently unstable and that like it constantly needs to change. So like getting like the perfect social democracy, even if you like we hit that point, it's going to just constantly be a struggle to like make sure that it keeps functioning, because there's always going to be people like, oh, like what if we like, you know, just like decided to go like super far right, because like obviously like society's fine, but like wouldn't it be better with tax cuts? And it's like, fuck us, like it's going to keep happening. You have to keep like fighting this. Like, stuff like this has happened like in terms of American history stuff, where our social safety net used to be like considerably stronger. Our like tax-based system, you know, used to be like a lot more severe towards like the wealthiest people. Like it was like our pension plans they were private, but they were like much better. And like you see like this erosion of certain like social safety nets for a lot of people, and it's like that's not what we want. That's not what we want at all. But,
yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's like I would say like almost in total agreement with the like what you said about like who's like acceptable in terms of allies. On social policy, I'm more hardline. Like I don't like people who like don't like minorities or like don't like gay people or trans people or don't think they deserve rights. But on economic policy, I'll essentially ally with anyone who's currently left of center, like left of center that exists like in American politics, right? Like if I like have someone who's like chill, like just like a general lib that's cool with like, you know, minorities and like all sorts of like trans rights and stuff, and they're like say raising the minimum wage, but like keep like stagnant on everything else, I'll be like, yeah, fine, a minimum wage, I'll take you. But like as soon as like the center of the American like political zeitgeist like goes like left of them, I'm no longer interested in allying with them, right? Like I just want to keep moving that. And if like they say that the center line gets to me, then we've kind of already won, because I'm about as extreme a suck them as you can get. You know what I mean? Like at that point, like I'll take it. But so in the same way, like it's like there's a really great like French revolutionary quote where he's like, I want a society so radical that one day I'll be hanged for being too conservative. And it's like, I'll fucking take that. You know, if I got to get like, you know, gulag because I'm still like, you know, technically a capitalist, which I don't really like capitalism, but like I like markets. Like but that's why I'm like a market socialist, because like I like that sort of stuff. I think it was like functions better until we have like space communism, which again, like I am pro space communism, like techno. Like if we have like the technology like to do like a fully like planned economy, like I'm totally for it. Just like until we get there, I just don't like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Do we think to wrap this one up? Do we think that therefore that Jimmy is I don't know, is he doing this as a grift? Is this a genuine attempt at left unity? How do we feel he's handling this? Is he just being an attention whore?
I think it's a bit of both, in the sense that there's a lot of people on the like I think you could essentially call them like the dumb left, that like they really like it's part of their brand to just hate the Democrats like so much. And like some people like Brianna Joy Gray are similar to like him, or Kyle Klinsky, who I think is like less malicious, but like and like the sort of the same board, where it's like it's their brand at this point. And if they like had to change that opinion, they would have to like essentially say that like I've been wrong this entire time. There's this obvious like professional inertia, right? Like if we woke up tomorrow and decided we were both like, you know, ANCAP libertarians, like our audiences like would be like, what the fuck are you saying, right? So like they have like monetary incentives to keep like peddling the shit they're peddling, right? Yeah. And that's I think that's where the grifting aspect comes in, where it's like if it really is your livelihood, it's very difficult to like have your mind organically change, especially on like big issues, like where getting say like the Jimmy Dore to admit that, hey, Democrats are actually better than Republicans on virtually every issue, even if like they're still too conservative for them, like obviously the majority of lefties, then like it's not, you know, it's not good. Like, and there he's gonna like resist that obviously. And it's just really difficult to like get them to do it. So I would say Jimmy's a grifter. I'm leaning much more towards like Brianna Joy Gray being a grifter. I think Kyle Klinsky is well-meaning, but just kind of like, you know, not right. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's some it's like there's different like levels of like active maliciousness. Like there's like I have a like my mom used to be like a Republican before. Like, you know, I didn't like socialism pillar or anything, but like she's definitely like, you know, more liberal. And it's like there are people that are either, like you said, like just like ignorant that need to be taught things, or they might like, tacitly support something because that's their environment, but like they're not like 100% like a diehard. But some people, I'd say Jimmy's the worst of this, like in terms of like the dumb left, because he's also like the biggest like driver, and he seems like to be the one most trying to like get controversy and get clicks and likes and stuff. I made a tweet last night where it was like, Jimmy would definitely like support a fascist for president if the fascist came on his show, and it's just like it's literally that easy.
Yeah,
the reason why he didn't,
but he already did. She's called what's her name?
Tulsi
Gabbard. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so he already did basically.
It's like Tulsi, like I can understand some of like the like her specific brand of anti-war stuff. Like I'm a bit different in terms of like how I look at like geopolitical stuff, but the trans thing, I was just like, all right, you're dead to me. Like I don't care like if you almost support Medicare for all, like if you don't think a particular part of like people aren't people, or you don't think they like deserve rights like in terms of sports and shit, like fuck off with that. Especially when you're like peddling to like right wing like audiences, right? It's so easily understandable.
Yeah.
When you have someone like that, like they always like do like the hedges they make are the weird hedges. It's like when she didn't vote for like Trump's impeachment the first time, despite like the overwhelming amount of evidence, and she was like, I'm trying not to divide people, so I'm abstaining from a vote. And it's like, I'm sorry, but like after like the trial that we had, like you're not allowed to vote, like you're not allowed to abstain. Like we put you there for a reason. Like say yes or say no. And she couldn't even do that. And that's like the slimiest level of shit where she's like, I want to maintain good faith with conservatives who like make up like a frustratingly like large number of my followers. But like it's fucking, again, it's that red brown shit where it's like, oh, I'm appealing to people on the far left and the far right. And at that point, it makes me wonder like what your politics is, right? Because at that point,
Yeah, exactly. I can't stand Tulsi Gabbard, to be honest. You look at her. If you look at her fan base, and again, this is true of Jimmy Dore as well, there's a lot of far-right people amongst them, and that's a red flag. Not just that they hate watch, they're kind of tacitly approving of some of their shit, and that's not cool. And actually, that's the point of most ridiculousness with Jimmy. Like you said, it's about who will go on his show. He didn't support Bernie because Bernie didn't go on his show, even though Bernie did support M4A. But Tulsi, who didn't support M4A, went on his show and he supported her for president. Like, that's ridiculous. Come on there.
Yeah, just like it's just so blatant and open. It's so frustrating to see like that people twist themselves in pretzels to explain why. And it's like, it's okay. Like you're like I like as someone who like does this as a hobby, if you're doing this for your job, I totally understand like making money is important. So like, it's fine. Like, just be honest about people with it, right? Like, if you make if this like gets you a certain amount of clicks, gets you a certain amount of like subs and stuff. Like, who am I to tell you no? Just like admit like the grift when it's a grift, right? Like, it's fine. And like, I respect the hustle. I'll hate you and like I'll tell everyone not to follow you because you're obviously a grifter. But like, it's like, fuck, like Jimmy Dore feels more and more like the Dave Rubin of the left, and that is not a place you want to be. Where it's just like, you are willing to platform anyone who was willing to speak with you just to have like, just so you can like get like content or like have people around you. And that just feels like you're in politics for the wrong reasons. Like when I like started doing stuff like this, I didn't do it like expecting to make money or even like get anyone to listen to me. I got in because like I wanted to like, make the world a better place. And I thought I had something to say that would like end up like creating positive change. And it just feels like some people are just in it like there's easier like places to make money. Like I also said this the other day. It was like, if you give every like far right grifter like a place like writing for shows that get canceled in pre-production, you'll get rid of like half of the online right like figure base. Like Ben Shapiro's gone, Dave Rubin's gone, like Steven Crowder's gone. Like just give them comedy jobs writing for shows that no one will ever watch. Like I feel like that's better for society. It's literally like the Hitler in art school like thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get them out of like the public discourse, because it's better for everyone else if they're just like screaming their shit in a room where no one's listening to them, instead of being like propped up by oil billionaires to sell like disgusting shit.
Or go full Truman Show with them, put them in a fake world and just let them do their thing. I'd watch it. Be fun. Think how quickly it would descend into war. It's
like, oh my god, what if you did the Truman Show, but like you had multiple like real people in there, and you see how they interact with each other. And they're the only ones that like actually like fight each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, so it's like you stick Crowder, like Shapiro and Rubin, like, and they'll put Dore in there for like good measure, and just see like the four of them do in a world that like randomly will help one more than the other ones, and just see how they like tear each other to pieces. Like, holy shit! Like I watch the fuck out of that.
It's day 19, and Dave Rubin has just launched his nuclear weapons against Ben Shapiro or something. Yeah. That would be fun. Anyway, so that's from one ridiculousn's to another thing. It's only something I'm vaguely familiar with, but I am, like I say, vaguely familiar with it. The concept, a new gender just dropped. Everyone, the Sigma male.
Oh my god, holy shit! Like let me get the chart out just so I don't like. This is like the.
It should be on the screen for you, I think. There.
Okay, I'll pull up your
on the Discord.
On the Discord. I'm so dumb. I literally I didn't. It's there, but it's not open. My brain is so tiny. Yeah. Okay. Holy fucking shit. This is so gross.
This is so weird. This is from the people that brought you. There are only two genders, and it's so confusing with the new pronouns. They've just created a new thing, the Sigma male.
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of manosphere shit. Just because I've had friends in college who were tacitly going down this road, and I was just desperately trying to save them.
Well, you should check out my series, The Descent of Manosphere.
It's oh shit, you have a series on? That's so fucking awesome.
Yeah. You should. Yeah, I do. It's profiles of various arseholes basically, and as well as the yearly episodes on the International Conference on Men's Issues, which is oh my god, those people. So yeah, you should check that out. It's I got my start doing Manospherian content or anti-Manospherian content.
It's that's super cool. I mean, I think there's been a pretty nice example of guys on the left who can demonstrate positive masculinity, which I feel is super important, because I had this conversation with one of my fans who they define themselves as an incel, but they're no, they're a good kid, and I think they're in chat right now, but and a lot of it I can definitely understand the struggle of a man who, or a person in society who's we're getting rid of traditional gender roles, which is super fucking based, right? We're letting women do whatever they want, which is super fucking based. Let them fulfill their dreams and be as successful as they want to be. And then, but for men, it's I feel we haven't quite got to that point in terms of allowing them to feel they can be emotionally available and emotionally not just a sad, angry asshole.
Yeah.
And they definitely need those kind of examples, because if you don't, then you obviously get shit like this where they're here's the tier list of what kind of male are you? Fuck that. They wonder why people don't like them. And it's because you've already defined yourself, whether or not you're going to be socially successful based on what flavor of Greek letter you are.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And this is the thing. I like the idea, with the pickup artist, right? I like the concept they sell of themselves, that they're trying to help men become more self-actualized and more confident and improve themselves as people. That would be lovely. What they're actually teaching is just incredibly toxic, though. They're not improving the lives of men or women. They're just awful, awful people. And this Sigma thing, I think, is another example of that, where the I word that we can't use on Twitch anymore, that rhymes with tin gel, let's say, those people and the MGTOWs and all the rest of it, those are pretty desperate people in some respects, and this is just selling them that actually their personality flaws are actually positive and that they should embrace them. Which is, I
feel this is sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I feel the specific the Sigma male traits, they're everything that supposedly an alpha isn't, but they're still successful. I think this is almost the next evolution of covering all their bases, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll say I'm not being socially or sexually successful because I'm not an alpha. But then you have a lot of people who might break that trend, who don't fit those stereotypes, but still are relatively successful. And they're we can't define them as betas because they're cool or whatever, but we can't call them alpha because they don't fit the traditional thing. So this is the other half of the successful men that they can't categorize, and they just threw a bunch of shit together and this is the other successful men. It's literally all types of men. If you go from the spectrum of alpha to sigma, like those like two things that encompasses so much that essentially it's any man who's successful with women that that you feel like you can't be, and it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And alpha isn't applicable to virtually any type of people, any type of animal, and certainly not to humans. But let's read through this incredible meme they put together.
I'm so excited. Go for it.
Yeah. So you've got a man there sat on a sofa. Okay, that's fine. That's the only bit of it that's vaguely sensible. Anyway, a sigma male is a man who chooses to live his life outside the normal social dominance hierarchy of society. I'll stop there and just say Jordan Peterson has a lot to answer for here.
Oh my gosh, like I'm 95% like thinking he's like horrible. I would say like I saw like a ContraPoints, like the ContraPoints video on the tin gels, and it was like if all someone needs is like someone to yell at them to clean their room, that's fine. But like I don't think all the other baggage that he brings with him is worth it. You know what I mean? Like I could tell them the same fucking thing, and I'm not like a horrible, like person who's trying to embrace traditionalism in society, but keep going. Fuck Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, indeed. So anyway, so they're outside the normal lobster hierarchy. Good stuff. Sigma males have similar traits to alpha males, but prefer to walk to the beat of their own drum and don't often take orders from people or conform to society's labels or systems. It's fart huffery, is what it is.
It's just like, so it's like alpha is the guy with friends who you see like being successful, and sigmas are just all the other guys who seem to be successful without being the alpha. And it's like, all right, so that means that's like any guy who's successful. Like, I don't know, like.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And then they've got these 12 points. Oh my word. Right.
I'm ready.
1, he loves being alone, but he values other people. What does that mean? What the fuck does that even... That's basically everything, isn't it?
It's like, I feel like a traditionally like healthy individual is just someone who can like enjoy alone time and enjoy like social time, right? Like that means you're a healthy, balanced person, and that most people should strive to have some flavor of that. That's why I feel like that's part of the why this is so insidious. Because like I feel like I haven't like read the entire thing, but it seems like about say at least half of these are things that are probably like generally like decent to have as a trait. Like they mix it with like just all the like the random deplorable shit, right? Where it's like he's morally gray. Like why the fuck do you like have to be an asshole to be like a sigma male? Like I don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mixture of wanting to be societally normal and accepted and knowing that you aren't. I think it's an odd, peculiar thing. Number 2, another absolutely meaningless one. He is a silent leader.
Is that Paul Joseph Watson, like as like the model for it? Like
I think these are just stock images, aren't they? But it might as well be. Well, this is, to be fair, it's not a bad personality analogy for this, because this is the kind of weird Paul Joseph Watson thing where one day he'll be, I'm the best thing in the world. The next day he'll be quoting like fucking Cure songs and cutting himself or something. Like it's just an odd mixture of things he is.
Are you sure he's not just at pub? Like
at pub, that was amazing. At pub,
like...
when you're clearly at a restaurant, and that's fine. You're at a restaurant with a male friend. I don't know why you have to feel the need to be like, I'm a pussy hunter. Yeah, fear me. I'm alpha. No, you're a fucking weird little streak of piss in a restaurant. That's fine.
It's like, is it like, fellas, is it gay to go out for dinner with your friends? Like, do you have to like make drinking like the primary thing? Like, I went out for dinner like with my all my guy friends like all the fucking time in college. Like I literally went out. I was on the powerlifting team, like just a bunch of like giant like roided out dudes, and we would all just like go like eat food together, and that's not weird. I feel like they've toxified so many like aspects of like healthy relationships and said they're unmanly, and like this is why it's hurting everybody, because it's like if you can't enjoy time with your dude friends, like then like what's the only other option? Like
exactly, like it's absolutely not gay to just go and eat a meal with him. If you also suck his dick, then it crosses a line into being gay. That is definitely true. But assuming you didn't do that, Paul, I don't know why you felt the need to like cover that shit up. Like, I'll be honest, right? It's a sort of overplayed trope, but with those kind of obviously homophobic dickheads who feel the need to be like, I'm so straight. Would you be surprised if Paul Joseph Watson turned out to be gay as fuck?
I mean, no. It's the same thing with what was that, like Jesse Lee Peterson, right? Like he liked the gay porn on Twitter, and it's like it's like I'm in a weird place when I see stuff like that because like obviously I don't want to like make like like homophobic jokes and shit, but it's like it's difficult or like say like not respect like their say like sexuality, but it's very difficult when like they actively like are hurting people who have the same sexuality, right? Like it's like like I just like Dave Rubin. I will never like make fun of him for being gay.
Yeah.
But it's like you're actively hurting other gay people. So like when bad things happen to you for being gay, it makes it like more difficult for me to empathize with him because it's like, dude, you're actively assisting like your own oppressors. Like, please stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or I mean, Paul Joseph Watson's old boss, Alex Jones, who was caught. He used to do a thing where he'd have an overhead camera onto like a tablet to show like articles and stuff, and it showed that he had been recently searching transsexual porn.
I'm happy he's exploring new boundaries, but like, can you stop hating on trans people while
exactly,
you do it? Like, come on.
Look, if you want to be, if you want to be, if you're into that kind of thing, that's absolutely fine. Just don't also deny them basic human rights. Would be good.
That's so hard. Like, it's so weird. Like when it's like all the guys who are like, oh, like I'll totally go to a strip club, but like I don't want my daughter being a stripper. It's like, so all right, so you're contributing to like something that you think is negative, but like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's just
so dumb.
The double stigmas, like the double-sided stigmas, are so weird. Where it's like, oh, like I'll participate in this, but I think it's bad, or like it's not bad, but I'm saying it's bad, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's like, well, all the time it just feels like
all the people who jerk it to like porn, but then slut shame sex workers. Like, what are you doing exactly? How do you think that porn gets made exactly? It's not magic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could like intellectually respect like the people who are like I'm anti-porn, who like don't like like use porn, but like at some point it's like, really?
I don't think there are many. I don't think there are many of those people. I think virtually everyone partakes in porn to a little bit every now and then. So even the supposedly anti-porn people are just hypocrites, I think.
Just gotta check to make sure I still hate it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was doing research. Yeah, just doing research on. Yeah. So, he's a silent leader. That doesn't mean anything. Absolute nonsense. Number 3, he knows how to adapt to different situations. So he's a sentient being? Okay.
Like, can respond to stimuli. Like.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's... Okay, well, so he has, at the very least, some sort of basic photosensitivity and, I don't know, control over his limbs. Good. Number 4... he treats everyone around him the same way. That's weird. That's very weird, because I would slap a girlfriend on the ass. I would not do that to my mom.
Yeah, that's a very fair like thing. Like, I think you could, if you tried to stretch that like as far like charitably as possible, it's like, oh, like I treat everyone like with like kindness and respect. That's fine, but like you don't treat any two people the exact same way. Like you said, like I wouldn't do like what I do with like my best friend and roommate. Like I wouldn't do things with him that I would do like with like if with like my ex-girlfriend. It's like there's like it's just different things. You know what I mean? Like different like areas. Yeah. And it's like it's like I think this is part of like the idea of they're trying to appear more socially acceptable like than they are. They're like, guys, we're like totally for equality, so we're treating everyone the exact same. But like if you do that, then like you ignore like people's like life stories, or you like ignore their specific conditions. Yeah. And like it's better than like actively discriminating. But again, it's not like where you want people to be.
Yeah, it's nonsense, and it's like you say, it's them trying to do the whole like the kind of centrist thing of I don't see colour and I don't do race. I'm not a racialist in any way whatsoever. I treat everyone the same, which is not true and shouldn't be true because, like we said, as we've pointed out, a few of the different social connections you can have to different people, you obviously treat those people differently. You might tell a joke in front of a friend that you wouldn't in front of your boss, for instance. It's come on. Everyone knows that that's just nonsense. Number 5. He doesn't need a social circle to be himself.
That's just like a general like person thing. Like I have multiple, like I would obviously be different, or it's like I'm pretty similar, I guess, like in terms of like how I like see myself. But like if I'm like with my powerlifting like buddies versus like I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons like with my like like theater friends, like obviously it's a different vibe. And it like, but being confident in like doing what you do, is obviously universal, but like the fact that it has to be said that like you're like, oh, like I can't be myself outside of like hanging out with my boys, like is that a problem for a lot of people? Like I just I'm sigma splaining right now. I'm sorry guys, I didn't it turns out I am this. Like
stay in your lane, Omega. God damn it. Oh, anyway. Yeah, have you seen that pyramid they've done with the different Greek letters? Oh, for fuck's sake, you people are mad. And not just that, but he treats everyone in the same way. He doesn't need a social circle to be himself. These are sort of so ludicrous and stupidly vague that it sounds a bit like horoscope sentences. Do you know what I mean? Like that could just apply to virtually anyone, really.
Right. That's the same thing that I would say, like you brought up Peterson, right? I feel like that's why so many people are so frustrated with him, because I have some like people that I intellectually respect who are like Peterson never says like the most horrible ends of his arguments, right? He just like insinuates like different things and then lets people like get there naturally. Because like if you listen to like someone talk, you can get it's essentially the purpose of the dog whistle, right? Yeah. You don't say it out loud, but the people who know it will pick up on it. And people who don't, you have plausible deniability like to stop it, and it's like that's just. Everyone can like interpret it differently. And at that point, you're not responsible for what you're saying. And I think those people are extremely intellectually cowardly.
Oh, indeed. Absolutely, yeah. Number 6, he understands the importance of silence.
I feel like these are just basic life skills. Like, are some people not okay with talking? Or sorry, not okay with not talking? Like, if I'm not speaking, then like I'm losing. Like, if you talk when you're not supposed to, you're immediately an omega male. Like you failed the test. I also, until this, I didn't think there was something lower than a beta. I thought it was just alphas and betas. Apparently betas have a better are doing better than like the like deltas and omegas. Like,
well, these people think that sigmas are in line with alphas. Yeah, it's the pyramid that I've seen of it is. Like the alpha's at the top, and then sigma is just outside, but on the same level, but it's outside the triangle because they're so edgy,
Like they're outside the established dominance hierarchy of society.
Exactly, they've transcended lobster. Don't you get this? Jesus. Anyway,
one of my people said it's horoscopes for Joe Rogan listeners. Like, yes,
it is. Yeah, yeah. Number 10 is have you ever tried DMT? That's definitely true, yeah. It's not really, though. Anyway, number 7. He's morally grey or worse.
Like, is that just because being less than morally grey would make you a nice guy? And, like, obviously nice guys can't get laid, right? Like, that's the only... Yeah, like...
I'm getting strong Joker vibes. It's like I'm so twisted. I'm damaged. Like, it... Oh... Like... This is really cringe, man. Fucking hell.
It's like we all have bad days where we're like, oh, no one likes me. But like, come on, like if one of your basic tenets is like, I don't have any principles. Yeah. I'm only here to serve myself or make things worse. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, who let you out? Like, go back home.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a fucking prick. Yeah. Yeah, but that's not exactly. Yeah, it's like crawling in my skin. Well, fucking self-harming. It's just this is some emo fucking 15-year-old shit right now.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Yeah, it really is. Oh god. Number 8. Hang on. What the fuck? What does that word say? He's something life. He hates life. He hates living life safely. Sorry, the screen's a little bit further away and the writing's quite small. He hates living life safely because safety is for betas. Is it gay to remain alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like that is like living to your 70s is the gayest thing you can do. There's no holy like you said. This is just horoscope shit. It's like today you should live life a little less safely. Like. Do you mean like no seatbelts? Do you mean like not wearing a condom? Like what's the like?
Yeah.
What level are we doing? Like
just gonna
jumping without the cord? Like...
Drinking raw milk and drop electrical items into your bath. Like what the fuck? That's again. It is. It's the I'm so edgy. I'm so fucking edgy. I don't live life safely. I'm awesome. No, you're just a tiresome dick. Shut up.
I think they invented Sigma males so that like all their extremely black-pilled like people, they could like retain them as an audience member like before they like fully shut down. They're like, we have to do something because like clearly none of them are quote unquote alphas, so we gotta like find something to make them feel a bit better. And like maybe like have you discovered that you're not an alpha? Like, you're the Sigma. You should like buy my second book, How to Be a Sigma. Like, fuck.
Yeah, it basically is. Yeah, people who know. I mean, again, alpha, beta, omega, sigma. They're not applicable to virtually any animal type. Certainly not to humans in any fucking respect whatsoever. But from the people who buy into this shit, they know they're not quote unquote alpha, but they want to feel good about that. They want to feel good about themselves, and that's fine. Everyone wants to feel good about themselves, of course. But also, therefore, don't necessarily compare yourself to other people, because you're going to be better than them in some ways and worse than them in some ways. Everyone's different. So they're basically selling, you don't need to be alpha as such, because even if you don't embody the things that we think are alpha, you can just be this other thing that's totally different, but still exactly the same.
Yeah. Although on a personal level, like, you ever meet that one person who like seems almost exactly like you, but is slightly better in every way, and you're just like, fuck, like, I'm store brand. Like it's like,
yeah.
The one guy, it's like, hello, fellow 6'3.5", because I'm 6'3", like fellow blonde guy who can bench slightly more than me. I guess like I do have a doppelganger, and he's better than me.
Basically, yeah. Sorry. He's number 9. His social skills could use some work.
Okay, this is straight pandering, like to the people who like can't be out. Like at that point, like everything up until now was like Joker stuff, but this is just like, hey, are you not good at talking to people? You might be a Sigma.
Yeah. So either someone who's socially awkward, or that could be read as, if you're an antisocial prick, who cares? That's fine. Like, no, that's not fine. It's really not fine. Please try and not be pricks.
Babe, why don't you like me? I'm a Sigma male. Like, if I learned to be better socially, then like I wouldn't be a Sigma anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, fuck's sake. Anyway, ironically, given everything we've just read, number 10 is he's incredibly self-aware.
Well, he knows he's the Joker, you know? Like, he's fuck these poor people, like these. Because how many videos did like that Sigma male like thing with like Keanu Reeves get, right? Like, that video
that went viral, yeah.
Yeah, it's like how many people like watch? Like obviously, there's always people who are dunking on these guys, but how many people watch that unironically and feel like it's helping them? Like that's honestly, I feel so like it makes me feel a lot of like honest to God pity. I'm like, are you okay? Like, because like a lot of these guys, like everyone like doesn't like. There are times in your life where you're not feeling that good, but like that's like when you're open to like the greatest like amount of like change in your life. But, like some people like become like super based like lefties, and other people go down like rabbit holes like this, and it's just like fuck, like come on, like it makes me want like I wish I could have got to them sooner, because now I have to like deprogram all this bullshit when I'm trying to talk to them.
Exactly, that's why I despise people like Peterson and his ilk, because they're essentially grifting on some very damaged people who need actual psychological help in some respects, or just to be told, shut the fuck up, you're an idiot, or something occasionally might help some of them as well. They're not all necessarily mentally ill, but a lot of them are. A lot of them have deep sociological, psychological issues that they need to work through. And just pretending that the lobster hierarchy, or I'm the alpha, or I'm the sigma, is going to help you, it fucking isn't. It's only making you worse.
Yeah, it's like you need therapy. Like that's not like a bad thing. Like if every person like had therapy, like the world would like be a better, not a worse place. Like you don't, even if you don't have like say like a specific like like mental illness, like every person benefits from a person who's on your side, who can help you like view things objectively, that like that is like trained in like helping you understand like the problems of your life. That's like such a good like thing for people to have, like no matter where you are in your existence. But like these kids don't find that. They find the YouTube video about Sigma males, and it's like, fuck.
Oh, that's someone come up with a great description of this. This is the I'm so edgy that I conform to this predefined list of attributes. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Yeah, this is post hoc rationalization of antisocial bullshit. Yeah.
I'm so punk that I'm establishment. Like
exactly. Conservatism is the new punk rock. We know this. Paul Joseph Watson, please eat a bag of shit. Anyway, number 11.
It hurts so bad.
Yeah. Number 11. He's the master of his own fate. So it's sort of pseudo-libertarian shit, I think.
It's like I'll admit I really like the poem Invictus. Sometimes like, and like when I was like younger, like it would get me out of bed. But like, fuck, like it's just all like these things are, or like this one specifically is like, oh, like you can self-actualize, you can do what you want to do, which is not inherently a bad thing, but like all the shit that like has been on this list will probably not help you get there, except for like number 1 and like number 3, which is just technically like being a like functional human being. Like it's just like, except like I take back what I said earlier, like, I feel like except for 1 is good, 3 and 6 are just like existing as a human being, and then everything else is like neutral or worse.
Yeah, indeed.
Like,
yes, basically so, yes. And number 12, this I think rather gives the game away in terms of what these people are, because this is the, well, I could totally be that thing if I wanted to. I just don't want to. It's fine. 12.
I could be the football.
Yeah.
I could be the football captain, but like I just choose not to because like I like swords and anime, and like nothing against swords and anime. Like I have a sword. Like it's not like it's at my like, oh, it's, I got it when I was younger. I went to like a reenactment and I got like this really cool like Civil War like age like cavalry sword, and it was really cool. And
yeah,
I thought it was really fun. Yeah,
Hanz has studied the blade. Okay, don't fuck around.
I have studied the blade. It's actually, it's a lot. I definitely did not get the right type of sword, because the handle's like super like short, and swinging a cavalry sword around one-handed is fucking impossible. Like you just, everything's too heavy and too long, and just, yeah. But I'm sorry. Anyway, like my sword aside, like you can have a sword and still like get girls and have friends. Like I promise, like they're not mutually exclusive. Like as someone who loves anime, I'm so excited because I do this thing where I watch all my media like at 3.5 times speed. And I've been really avoiding watching like non-YouTube or Twitch content because I didn't know that like I could use my browser extension to watch like regular TV shows that fast. And now that I know that, I'm trying to hook up like my old TV in my apartment room so I can watch anime at 3 times speed so I can keep it with all my favorite shows. And I'm so fucking excited. Like, oh.
Okay, well, let's not go too far down the anime hole. Otherwise, I will have to call you a degen and cut you off, okay? So, just, anyway.
You don't like anime? Oh, man, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
I know, well, you know, no, I'm not a degenerate who's trying to destroy Western civilization. No, I'm not. Anyway, number 12, he could be an alpha if he wanted.
It just, every time I look at that, like, I feel like, like you said, this is all, everything about this is a cope for people who can't, like, because of their own like fucked up system, can't define themselves as alphas.
Yeah.
So they have to find some way to like to survive the black pill. And I'm just like, oh my God, guys, like, again, like I once want to shake them, like, are you okay? Like, what has brought you to this point? Because like, again, like, it's really like, I guess it's a hard conversation to have because like this stuff is so patently ridiculous. But I feel like there's a lot of like, I would say relatively like sympathetic guys who are like on the outer fringes of this thing before they get like too like far into this, and they really just need some like decent friends.
Yeah,
you know,
you
like,
need
like,
someone to take you to one side and be like, this isn't healthy, man. Just chill the fuck out. You want to look? We'll go get a drink, and yeah, I'm sure you'll meet a girl or something. It's fine. Like you don't need to. Like, you don't need to.
If it doesn't work out, like that's fine too. Like you have your friends, you have like, you know, your family and stuff, like, and like it's like it's always that thing where it's like it's all like the cliche bullshit where it's like, oh, like, you know, you'll never find someone if you're constantly like desperately looking for them, and it's like kind of true though. Like all like the best times I've like met someone is because like it was just random as opposed to like I'm going to get a girlfriend today. Like that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like,
well, exactly. Well, this is ultimately the point. These types of people treat women as things to own, objects, rather than A, enjoying life in general themselves and being self-confident, and B, just talking to women. Because if you do, you'll meet someone. There are fucking serial killers find lovers. Like everyone, there's someone out there for everyone, okay? You just need to approach things in a sort of chill manner.
It's like how many people like the Ted Bundy, like the Ted Bundy like Netflix series, like yeah, like women like they will like serial killers like aren't a deal killer for some of them, so like you'll be okay. Like
yeah, exactly, yeah. Like especially straight women, they have, trust me, as a person who should be a virgin and isn't, they have some low ass standards. So like you should be okay, you know. Anyway.
Oh no. we're just a couple of chads explaining everything. Like it's too much for them. Like, you know, they'll never see this and get what they need.
Yeah, these high-level alpha/sigma ideas. I mean, the normies aren't going to accept it because, you know, we're so twisted.
Someone in my chat said you could still be a serial killer and a Chad, and it's like, you're technically correct, but like I feel like the reason someone like can be likable is like totally divergent from like what like whether or not they're a serial killer. Like.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss MN Broodwitch MN, for following on Twitch, which you can do so below, by the way, and also subscribe on YouTube, and you can give me money as well on the super chats on streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875. It's linked below my video. Yes.
Absolutely. Sub to Kevin. Follow me, and the world will be a better place. Got to raise the Sigma voices because
exactly. We won't reach socialism until both Hanz and I reach 1 million subs each. So that's how we win the revolution, brothers and sisters.
We won the internet. Oh, that'd be so funny. Can you imagine if we still like live in a capitalist hellscape, but everything online is just like fully socialized? Like.
Yeah, basically. Well, I love it. I mean, the same people who often probably describe themselves as alpha or now sigma will go on about capitalism and how great it is. But we really should nationalise Twitter because they kicked me off. Like, oh, fucking hell.
That's like the most... But are you sure? Are you sure? Is that like sigma energy or omega energy? Like, I can't tell.
I don't know, but it sounds like communism to me.
Like... it's also so funny because you just have so many, like, pointing at hypocrisy at Republicans. You'll never like run out of like hypocritical shit, but it's just so funny. Like sometimes you just have to do it just so you can laugh instead of cry, because you're just like, holy shit! Like you're like, government's too big, someone ban me, please nationalize Twitter.
Yeah.
Like what we talked about the other day about Section 230, where it's like, you know, like if they get rid of Section 230, like you're going to be banned even harder because like they can't accept any potentially like not safe for work shit at that point because they can be sued.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're fucking ludicrous, these people. Okay, should we move on from the sigmas, because the testosterone energy I'm getting from this meme is too much for me. Frankly, I think it's turning me gay. That's how alpha it is.
Do they have? We should do this at some other point. Do they have a? Alharos, thanks for the sub on YouTube. Remember to sub to Kevin. But do you have? Are there other spreadsheets for the other flavors of male? Like, are there alpha ones and like because like all I know are like alpha and beta, and then I heard like the omega is like the saddest ones. Like, is there also like a spreadsheet for the omegas?
I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. There probably is somewhere in the fucking the bowels of MGTOW internet sites or something. Maybe on 4chan or some awfulness. I don't know if there's like they've got literally a whole Greek alphabet thing laid out. I'm not sure. I don't know if they know. I don't know if there's an upsilon male, for instance. I don't know.
It's like I don't like MGTOWs. I feel like they might be like potentially the least damaging because like at least they're not like trying to like actively hurt women. But it's just like I feel like they're also really hard to reach because at least like for people who aren't like full black pilled, you can talk to them.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, like maybe like if you like change some things or like get some hobbies and like try talking to people like at different events, like maybe you'll find like someone or something. But then like these guys are like, nope, no women ever. And it's like, I mean, if you're gay, that's totally fine. But like if you're not like, and you're not asexual, like you're probably setting yourself up for like some sad times.
Yeah.
But I don't think
the one thing I want from MGTOWs though is can you actually just go your own fucking way? Like they talk about women more than feminists talk about women.
That's really true. Like, is there really? Because I feel like if there's any like actual like full MGTOWs like as like their definition exists, you wouldn't hear from them because like any space with women, they just wouldn't exist, but they exist and they're just like, no, we also hate women. We just also want to stay away from them. And it's like, then why are you here right now?
Yeah, it's like we want to stay away from women as they're walking behind women shouting, oh, you're fat and ugly. Your eggs are drying up. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, it's just like, it's so sad. Like so many... someone said the only real MGTOWs are the religious monks. I mean, like that, sure. Like,
yeah, they have definitely gone their own way. Yeah, it's a weird way, but it's their own way.
Someone wants. I'm not a big religion guy, but like, if someone wants to do like one of those like orders where like all you do is sit like on a mountaintop and like meditate, like I mean, like, there are worse things to do, I guess. You know, you could be committing genocide somewhere, so I'll take it. Like, just like, but like in terms of women, it's just like if treat them like people, respect their boundaries, and like some of them are bound to like you eventually. It's just like it's not complicated. Like you pick up people by accident sometimes. Like
indeed.
But,
yes. So, should we move on to something that a bit funny, but also of serious political import? I've had to go on to an incognito mode because I've run out of free New York Times articles. Where are we?
So yeah, I got a Time subscription for Christmas, and I've definitely been abusing it. Like,
oh no, that's fine.
Yeah, my parents are so supportive. They're just like, here you go. Like, you can. How's that streaming thing going, son? Like, I am winning, Dad. Thank you. Like,
yeah. Oh, my dad's even worse. My dad doesn't understand any of it. I literally, about a couple of months ago, he knows I do this, and he asked me this word for word the question, "How's the internet going?"
In general, or like me specifically?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, he's the boomerest fuck that ever existed. Bless him. Bless his tiny little face. Anyway.
Yeah, my mom tried to watch one of not our panel, but like I did like one of Prime K's panels.
Yeah.
And she was like, "How do I watch?" I'm like, "It's on Twitch." And she's like, what is a Twitch?" I was like, "Fuck, just ask my little brother. He will show you."
Yeah.
Please.
Look, I'm not saying we kill old people, but they need to learn. And I don't know how we make them learn.
It's like, guys, you won World War II. Like, you can learn how to like surf the web. Like, I believe in you. Like, although real talk though, I'm so excited for like when we're old, because if say like the social welfare state like still exists and we're 70, that's just video games all day with your boys that are still alive. That sounds so good.
True, but you've got to each time though they're AFK, you've got to worry: have they died?
Where's Paul?
He might have keeled over and died, but either way, I'm killing him. I know he's just stood there, or like he's stood there walking straight into a wall for like 5 minutes, but I'm going to kill him. I have to. He in the same situation, he would do that to me. Okay, it's what he would want.
I would want my ghost existing on whatever like game exists at that point in time. Also, like, there's hype for the future of video games. Like, if we can get more like ethics in the markets and stuff. Like, and hopefully not everything is like owned by EA Activision / Blizzard, then like things could probably turn out pretty solid. I really like the idea that we can have a lot more like fun indie games. Like, if you did you ever play Hades?
Yeah, well, very limitedly, yes.
Yeah, I like I've never like done like roguelikes or platformers like that, and it's like they're so good. Like, I didn't realize how much awesome games were. Like, I feel like if we just had more like society like less shitty to like exist and survive in, everyone would be doing so good right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we have games. It's like we can just make sure people aren't homeless and have healthcare. Like, fuck, things sound pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like,
indeed. So we'll take a look at the New York Times article in just a second. But this is the copiest cope ever. This is the commander in cope chief. Okay. Donald Trump.
Oh, we're doing this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
He's announced. Now, bear in mind, when during the lame duck period, we had people going, the office of vice president isn't a real thing, you know, it's not an official title, even though Donald Trump used it when he was, it's not vice president, president in waiting, what's it called? President-elect. The office of president-elect is not an official title. Donald Trump used it, and it's just like a thing that people do, it's fine. And the very same people are now cheering on Donald Trump off starting his own, and this isn't a thing. This is not a thing, but he started it. The office of the former president. That's like, this is really sad.
It gives me like the vibes of like one of the political leaders of like a country that gets like pushed out because of some kind of coup, and then they go to a different country and like they're still like technically like the leader of that country, and it's like, yeah, but like you don't have any political. That's like literally the vibe I get.
Yeah,
it feels so sad.
It's pretty pathetic. Yeah, it's bad. So anyway, former U.S. President Trump, that's nice to say, has given his first public statement since leaving the Oval Office, announcing the establishment of the new office for the former president. Fuck me, this is pathetic. This is literally, I mean, I made the analogy the other day with, I can't remember who I was talking to, that it's like a bride gets stood up at the altar and like a week later she's still in the dress. Like, you need to move past this now. This is not healthy.
We're not done yet.
Yeah.
He could come back. We don't. It's like, this is how Trump can still win. One of 78. Like.
Yeah. The office will be managed by ex-White House aide from Palm Beach, Florida. Good stuff. That's the logo, which again uses like the official logo thing for it, which is weird. And the statement reads. Where are we? Hang on. Palm Beach, Florida. Today, the 45th President of the United States, technically the 44th different person, fuck you, Grover Cleveland, Donald J. Trump, formally opened the office of the former president. The office will be responsible for managing President Trump's correspondence, public statements, appearances, and official activities to advance the interests of the United States, lol, and to continue the agenda of the Trump administration through advocacy, organizing, and political activism. President Trump will always and forever be a champion for the American people.
Which American people are we talking about? Like the angry white people, or like the sad white people, or just the GOP people? It's like, it's not even like, there's plenty of white people who hate him. Like, you know, like all those like white suburban ladies who came out and voted against him. Like, nice. Like, thanks. Like, you know, Karen, we rag on you a lot, but like, thank you for showing up. Like, fuck. Like, just.
Yeah. Although white women in general was it 54% voted for him, which just goes to show you can say what you like about the American president, or say what you like, sorry, about white women, and they will still fucking vote for you. You can rag on them massively. You can grab them by the pussy, and lots of them will still vote for you if you're racist enough.
It's like you would. It's like, it's almost like boggling every time I see it, because like I can totally like get why a white man would like support republicanism, because he's like, oh, because I'm winning right now, right? Like everything about this is like for me, we're crushing it, like nice. But like even like white women, it's like, hey, like you still like want like to succeed in like feminism stuff, right? Like it's just so strange that it's like over half. Like I can maybe buy like, you know, maybe 40%.
Yeah. But
that it's over half, like fuck. I'm like, it's, I don't even know how to help them. Like, yeah. And then people like go try and like pull the other way, and they're like, no, but like, you know, black people vote like 90+% Democrats. So yeah, because like they're not currently being actively racist. Like we can talk about history, but like still, like currently.
Well, this is the thing. The Republicans are killing themselves with this nonsense, because if they could just stop being overtly racist, they could probably still be a bit racist and win a lot more of the black vote and the Latino vote and all the rest of it. Because there's like a lot of religious conservatism amongst black people, and amongst a lot of the Latino people in America will be Catholic, for instance. There's a lot of religious conservatism. Everyone hates paying taxes, so like there's a lot about the conservative oeuvre that it could work in those communities if they just stopped like overtly being horrifically racist and like supporting the police murdering them and stuff.
Yeah, that's something that I'm actually quite nervous about in terms of like the Latino population, is because it's like more than. A lot more in 2020 voted for Trump than in 2016. Yeah, and that's horrifying, because you've probably heard this a lot too, where it's like, oh, like eventually, like, you know, if we just keep having like, you know, a diverse country and everything continues to diversify and white people become like less and less of like an active majority, like Republicans will never win again. But it's like it doesn't seem like it's happening, or at least not nearly as fast as you would hope, and it's really kind of like disconcerting. Like it's like, hey, like, you know. It's like, hey, Mexicans, like I really appreciate that you're here, but like he just called you like rapists. Like, do you really want to vote for him? Like, please stop.
Yeah, like it's not ideal. It's not ideal. But we'll wait and see. I mean, like I say, if the Republicans ever decide that maybe racism isn't the way to go, then they might actually become. They might actually be able to compete in terms of national vote without the ridiculous advantages they have in like the Electoral College and voter suppression and gerrymandering and all of that sort of stuff, which all piles in their favour.
It's it's so disgusting that like it's also kind of fucking hilarious. It's like you have all these like advantages and you still can't fucking win. Like, how unpopular are you? Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, they're a minority. They are a minority viewpoint, as we saw in Georgia. If you actually let black people vote, even the South isn't really that red. There are lots of black people in places like Mississippi. That if you didn't suppress their vote, all of a sudden wouldn't be a rock hard red place. You might still be red, but it'll be a lot more purple.
Yeah. I thought like Josh Hawley was like adored by like his like African American constituents. Like, what do you mean? Like this proto-fascist like fuckface was like, oh man, like I went like I never liked Hawley, and I always knew that he was like had like some like fascist like leaning stuff.
Yeah.
It was just like there was like moments where he would like be like for more like quote unquote progressive parts of stimulus bills, and I'm like, okay, like it makes me feel like he's like with a smarter fascist that like supports like certain social programs, like so he can like be like considered more working class. And like I'm so thankful that he just like ripped off the mask, so I had to stop like giving him credit on like any other like potentially like small working class issue, because it's like at this point it doesn't fucking matter. It's like, dude, you were in favor of the insurrection. Like, I don't care that you wanted like to support larger checks like back in March, because like you're a fuckhead now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Trump is going to obviously seek to remain something of a kingmaker in the GOP, possibly with an eye to running in 2024. But I don't think he'll even be alive then, will he?
I mean, like, hopefully. I mean, let's hope he's not like in a place to run. But what I would be, what I would be more like confused or concerned about, right, is and it says like in the Times article like version that I'm reading that he doesn't have a lot of political infrastructure, right? Like essentially everything. He was just like the figure. He was like the font, like the point of a like ballpoint pen, like where the ink was flowing out, and like the rest of the media apparatus was like the pen or the cans that he was writing on. And if you get rid of his like the personal like media that he has, like his Twitter account, he suddenly loses so much power, especially in terms of messaging, where before it wasn't an issue because he could essentially command and control from his Twitter account, like in terms of like debasing certain Republicans or supporting other ones. But now he has to like play catch up because he just doesn't have like the institutional power that like you would think is necessary. And it's just like, I feel like he's going to try and he's going to be partially successful, but because he's been deplatformed in terms of like Twitter stuff, I don't think he can, we're any longer at the stage where he can just like tweet out like all of his Republican political enemies and then they lose in their primaries. It just feels like, go ahead, sorry.
No, well, no, I was just going to say, with the impeachment going on now, back when the first one was happening, he was able to control the narrative because he was able to get his message out there and the media would report on it and all the rest of it. Whereas now, I have no idea what he thinks about it because he can't express it very well at the moment. He's staying quiet, which is good. I think that's it's a much preferable situation for him to just shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, it makes you like not to like sound like too brunch appreciative, but like it really makes you like understand like just how toxic he was in terms of discourse. Despite like him fucking talking every single day, like holy shit, like force the vote stuff aside, we've been able to focus on some like actual real policy stuff since he's been gone, and it's been really fucking refreshing for me because like I like to consider myself like a bit of a wonk in terms of like that sort of stuff, so like I can actually dig into the stuff that I want to, as opposed to just constantly reminding everyone, because it does bear reminding like just how fucking awful he was. Like
absolutely. Yes. Well, that's the thing. What policies? What was Trump's policy position on anything?
Whatever like the last person in the room told him, and just assume it was like the most racist or like corrupt person in that room.
Yeah, exactly. Look, he'd come out of a meeting with like the French president, and all of a sudden he'd be much more pro-European. And then the next day he'd speak to Steve Bannon and come out and be like, "No, the European Union's evil." Oh, for fuck's sake! Like, it's impossible to have a position. It's impossible to. Like, what was the official public policy position of the American government over the last 4 years? I don't know. And I look for that sort of stuff. I care about that sort of stuff. So like you say, it's been nice to get back to some actual detailed discussion on like, oh, they're going to try and phase it in over 4 years, and it's a $15 minimum wage, and the transgender military ban, and all this like actual policy stuff. It's good.
Yeah, it's like what's it called? Like, I think this actually might be like somewhat relevant to like what we like talked about before, in that I feel like there's legitimately growing pains in the online left, because like we're finding our footing in like how to criticize Biden. And it was so easy during the Trump era just to be like, yeah, like everything he says is fucked, and like liberals, like you're not gonna fix all of it, and like that, like essentially like, that could be like game set match, right?
Yeah,
you can be like, yeah, like get it, Biden's better, but like Trump's so awful, and now it's like we have Biden in place, and he's less aggressively awful that you can't just like say, oh, like Biden bad, Biden bad, Biden bad, especially like recently, right? Like if you like obviously like Biden, if you're listening to this old man, like while you're walking one of your dogs, if you do something like fucking awful tomorrow, I'm gonna look like a fucking joke, so please don't. But like,
oh yeah, well he subscribed to my Twitch. Yeah, he's a
it's like
tier 2 subscription. Thanks, Joe.
It's like Joe. But like at this point, a lot of stuff has been relatively based, especially from like what we were expecting from him.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some memes where it's like Joe Biden appears to be the first president to go left after like getting the presidency. Like
True.
We haven't seen that.
He didn't run on like union rights or anything, and then he put out that the presidential fuck's sake, the presidential edict. What do they call them again? Executive order.
Executive order.
Yeah, he put out the executive order saying that his government was going to encourage union, the setting up of unions and collective bargaining, which I was like, that's amazing. That's to use a phrase I don't like using, poggers, extremely poggers.
Yeah. Poggers, and he fired like the two heads of like the national, I think it's like federal like Bureau of Labor, and like he fired one who was like a notorious union buster, and then his second command like assumed the position is like, you're not going to fire me like that, and he's like, nope, and he fired her too.
Yeah, good stuff.
And it's like, yeah, like again, like when he fucks up, I am like so down to dunk on him, but it's like it's not just like trying to get goodwill like among like from like libs that I'm trying to like push farther left. It's like I'm trying to be like consistent and objective in how I criticize people, because it just feels bad. Like saying like it's like people are like, oh, like Biden's like he doesn't have Medicare for all, and Trump didn't have Medicare for all, so they're the same. And it's like, motherfucker, 30 million people will get healthcare under a public option system, and like costs will actually be cut for like a lot of people too. So again, 10 million Americans still don't have healthcare, but that's better than 40. Like, fuck, like it's just like the enemy of the good. Like it's so cliche, and like everyone calls you a lib as soon as you say something like that. But it's just like it feels like, and I don't want to like put words in like anyone's mouth or like assume anyone's like material conditions, right? Like Destiny knows this thing a lot that I don't like technically agree with, where he's just like he's constantly like, oh, like the only people who are like this pure are the people like on Twitter who like like who are like so like wealthy that it doesn't matter like what they say, because they're not materially like hurt by like not implementing these like half measures.
Yeah.
But like it feels like even if like you're a disadvantaged minority, it's like I feel like you still should like, or anyone who's disadvantaged, you could still support like things getting marginally better. Like I don't like the idea that like things have to get so bad for like change to happen. Like you can just do good things like in a vacuum. Like you're allowed to do that. Like you don't have to like let us get to like the libertarian hellscape where like minorities are still like discriminated against before you can implement universal health care. If we get like a public option and like people, and it like ends up like doing what it's supposed to do, more people are going to be comfortable with government healthcare, which means it's probably be easier, not harder, to pass Medicare for all. And if we expand like the government healthcare like role in terms of who's on it, it's going to be easier and quicker to like transition to a Medicare for all plan once we get one, because more people are already on it. Like the infrastructure's already there. Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, it's like, it just feels like, again, like it's like it's so frustrating. I would say like in terms of arguing, because like it's like you can say something is better without saying that you personally think it's the best. And it's just like, it's so easy for someone to just be like, nope, like you're wrong. And on top of that, like, you're an imperialist. And it's like, that was kind of irrelevant, but like, that's fine. Like,
yeah.
I get that a lot.
Neolib is the newish thing they do. You're a neolib, everyone's a fucking neolib, which basically makes it pointless. But yeah, in terms of, like, I'll criticize Joe Biden when he does dumb shit, because he will, obviously.
Oh, like, I'm honestly excited so that like I can stop defending him, because it's just like, come on, like I want to be in lockstep with my fellow online lefty brethren and sisterhood, and we just fuck them up. And it's like, and just until then, I have to keep being like guys and gals and NBs and like just everyone, right? Like gang. It's not time yet. Like we cannot unleash our rage just yet because he hasn't done the bad thing yet. Like,
well, exactly. Yeah, I'll criticize him when it's necessary. But just being like naysaying about it, it's essentially doing accelerationism by proxy or accelerationism by apathy. Like, it's just, it's stupid. What are you doing? If he does something cool, like the $15 minimum wage was seen as a slightly out there thing a couple of years ago, and now he's actually fucking doing it. So, like, that's a good thing. But the material conditions of the most poor people in society will be improved by this. So, awesome.
Yeah. And it is like an immediate increase where it's like, fucking, it goes like to $9.50, which is again like a 25% increase, like roughly, like maybe a bit more. Again, no one's saying that that's enough, but even like, but I feel this is like, I think where like I come down in terms of like Brianna Joy Gray being a grifter is like, I also like assume she is, because she was the spokesperson, like the press secretary for Bernie, and Bernie's plan was less aggressive than this. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, like, were you a sellout when you were his press secretary because he supported a $15 minimum wage? Would you have said, no, I want 25, Bernie, like right now? It's like, I don't think you would. And like, again, like that makes other people take us less seriously. And you want to be taken seriously by libs because you want to convince the libs. It doesn't mean you have to become a lib. It just means that your arguments have to be tailored, like, hopefully towards convincing progressive libs or like centrist libs compared to Boogaloo boys. Like, I feel like I can always convince like a centrist person to move left more than I can like a far right person. And I've seen lots of left-leaning people critique like specifically like dirtbag left types like Vosh, where they're like, he only pulls Nazis, and it's like, okay, cool, let's argue for like libs. And then it's like, and they're like, no, not like that. It's like, well, then who do you want to be on our team? Like, we have to pick like someone, because obviously like there's not enough internet like anarchists and communists and like democratic socialists to win this country just yet.
No.
Or anywhere for that matter. But like, we have to pick someone then like to be on the same team with. And it seems like the people who are like, a step away from being a suck dem is probably the best place to start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, if you can if you can move all liberals to being suck dems, America becomes a lot better.
Yeah. But it just feels like weird, because also in terms of like converting far right people to like leftism, I'm totally like in favor of de-radicalization and stuff like that. But I definitely see like a ton of like people who are like, oh, like I was like far right last year and now I'm far left, and they're like, oh, I'm 16, and it's like, okay, man, like, fuck. I feel like those are people just finding themselves. But like, if you can legitimately be convinced ideologically, like from being a Nazi like to being a communist in the span of like a single conversation, like, I mean, you were probably about aesthetics, so you weren't thinking that hard to begin with. And if you're that kind of communist, it means you probably can be convinced of something else. Like, someone like legitimately asked me, because like I said, I'm a market socialist. I'm not an anarchist. I'm not a communist. And they were like, "Are you nervous that you'll bring people from the left further right?" And I'm like, I trust if you're that your arguments are supposedly better than mine, because I'm not like hiding my power level by any means, but like, I think if you're further left than me and my arguments can bring you like to where I'm at, I mean, one, I believe that I have the right position like to begin with, because like otherwise I wouldn't hold it. But like, come on, like, have some fucking faith in your ideas. Like, Jesus Christ, like if I can convince like communists to not be like to be a market socialist instead, like, that's still acceptable to me. I wouldn't want anyone like to go further right than me, but like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, shall we get on to the article on screen? 1 second. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, I need to actually go onto the screen, don't I? There we go. Right. So, former President Donald J. Trump, lol, determined to remain a force in GOP politics, is gaining new opportunities with a crucial Senate seat unexpectedly coming open in Ohio. An ally announcing for governor of Arkansas, that's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is just fucking garbage.
The worst.
Yeah. And rising pressure on Republicans in Congress who do not stand with him during this month's impeachment vote. The surprise announcement on Monday by Senator Rob Portman of Ohio that he would not seek a third term sparked a political land rush. Land rush? Okay. With top strategists in the state receiving a flood of phone calls from potential candidates testing their viability. One consultant said he had received calls from 5 would-be candidates by midday. The opening,
Mhm.
along with another statewide contest next year in which Governor Mike DeWine is expected to face at least one Trump-aligned primary challenger, is likely to make Ohio a central battleground for control of the Republican Party, and inviting one for Mr. Trump, who held on to Ohio in this election while losing 3 other northern battleground states. That's true, actually. Yeah, the shift of both what we're seen as the swing states of Ohio and Florida to the Republicans, but yet everywhere else in the country seems to have moved the other direction, is slightly odd.
Right, like Ohio keeps moving like more Republican. Like it used to be like 8 years ago, it was a big swing state.
Yeah,
but looks like it's becoming less and less of a swing state, and other places are opening up more. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like Pennsylvania's becoming bluer. Like Arizona's becoming bluer. Like they're like, you know, someone's always like gaining ground, someone's always losing ground.
True,
and
but
it's just
if the GOP lose Texas, they're fucked.
Oh please, like that. Like we probably like would still always have to fight for the Senate, but like if we had the House and the presidency, like it's like that'd still be like way better for everybody. Like just in terms of executive orders, like when people are memeing, it's like, oh, like what can we do without Congress? It's like, holy shit, have you seen like the executive orders so far? Like if we can just have that every single time pushing slightly to the left, like that'd be some real fucking change.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely.
But like you said, he's like, it feels like he's going to be the kingmaker for a long time until he dies or like embarrasses himself in some like horrible way.
Well, what can he even do at this point that would embarrass him? If he was going to be embarrassed in the eyes of his voters, he would have been already, wouldn't he?
That's fair, because I think he still has a majority like approval rating among the Republican Party. So it's like,
although it's definitely gone down significantly.
Yeah, thank God. Like I guess like it was like the Charlottesville of like larger American politics, because I think he dropped like 20% among Republicans.
Yeah,
and that's important because it went from 90 to 70, which again is still awful because he probably can like, you know, win primaries and stuff, and like the people he supports win primaries. But like they're becoming less of a Trump cult and probably more of like the just like, you know, they're like easing back into like the deficit's really important kind of talk, and it's like, oh shit, like it's still fucking awful, but like that's better than open fascism. Like again, like the small fucking victories. I read an op-ed the other day where it's like the way we survive is really just to make the Republican Party less dangerous. And in the meantime, I kind of agree with that. Like,
well, yeah, in order to build socialism, you have to not have fascism in the first place.
Like, I would love like, you know, like a left-leaning party, and then like then Democrats are the like, you know, center party, and the Republicans just don't exist. Like, I would love that. You know what I mean? Or if the Democrats, as they are the conservative party. Like that's like something that's so much like more enticing for me as someone who like watches like, you know, like politics.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I was discussing yesterday with it. Joe Biden really should be the right-wing candidate.
Yeah.
And an actual leftist party run against them.
It's like, I would love it. Like if it was like him versus someone like, you know, slightly to the left of Bernie in the general. Again, like I wouldn't be happy if like Bernie lost or like that candidate lost. But if Joe Biden was like the most conservative option in terms of winning the White House, I would feel really fucking good about the state of American politics. Because like someone who's in favor of a public option, someone who's in favor of like, you know, like minority rights, who's in favor of like, you know, unions. Like if that's the conservative party, I am so down for whatever country that exists in.
Yeah,
that's just not the one that we have.
Indeed, so. So, continuing with the thing. Mr. Trump has only been out of presidential office 5 days and has little in the way of political infrastructure. He has told aides he would like to take a break for several months. That's interesting because it's not as if he's been working really hard.
Are you sure? Like he works. He you know he really like he works really hard on the golf course. Like
he has to like get on and off that motor buggy and take a shot and then sit back down again for another 10 minutes. He's working up a sweat.
It's like the pictures of him playing sports just always fuck with me because I'm just like, oh my god, how does this human being exist?
Well, my favorite ever is the picture of him trying to catch a baseball.
I like that one.
He looks absolutely fucking terrified.
But yeah, that one's really good. And then like the tennis one where he has the cake.
Yeah, it's this. Like, hang on, fuck's sake. 1 second, everybody. There we go. That picture. Look at him. He looks absolutely mortified. Look, it's a baseball. What do you think he's going to fucking do? What? Anyway, doesn't really matter.
Oh no.
Anyway, so that's Donald Trump trying to catch a baseball. Although he did catch coronavirus, so that's something, I suppose. Anyway, but the former president has remained the party's strongest fundraiser with tens of millions of PAC money at his disposal, and he retains an enduring base of Republican support across the country. Perhaps most important, he harbours a deep-seated desire to punish those he believes have crossed him and reward those who remain loyal. And that's, for me, that's where I think 2022 could be really interesting, because he could fuck the GOP up.
That'd be so good. Can you imagine, like, if they are so torn apart that, like, Democrats increase their majorities in places? Like, I want it to be so bad, like, it's like that I want Warnock to be reelected. Like, yeah. I would fucking love that. Can you imagine, like, if they're so torn apart, like, the moderate ones, like, wanting a moderate candidate, or, like, I'd say the best possible option is, like, I want a nuclear, like, standoff between, like, Republicans and Trump, or to the point where he, like, forms the Patriot Party, like, you know what I mean, like, fully, like, third party, like, to siphon off that 5% of GOP votes that, like, you know, guarantees, like, a 400, like, you know, Democratic like members in the House, and then, like, a 60 like votes, like, Democratic Senate. Like, please God, like, Trump, do it, just do it, like, Patriot Party right now. Like,
yeah, he could genuinely be like 21st century Ralph Nader, but for the right. I completely fucked them up. Yeah.
Thank God. I mean, like,
and it wouldn't take that much, because I mean, the Libertarian Party this time round took like 0.8% of the vote, and that was enough in some states.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reason why we had the Senate elections in the first place was, like, thank God for the Libertarian Party, because they, like, siphoned off, like, 0.8%, like you said. But that was enough to keep, like, both Republican candidates from, like, getting, like, over 50%, which, like, was what triggered the runoffs. Yeah. So, like Democratic Senate, thank the fucking Libertarians. Like, thanks for voting your conscience, guys. Like,
yeah,
that's the one time I'll ally with Libertarians.
Yeah, well, Ossoff looked like he was going to lose outright, but then he just, as the votes started coming in, he just crept. He just managed to scrape the 50% of who was he up against? I can't remember. Anyway, that dude,
Purdue.
Yeah,
Purdue.
David Perdue, just below like 49.96% or something. So we had to go to the runoff, and what happened, which is nice.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, like, absolutely beautiful.
Oh, man.
And it was literally like, it was like 500 votes or some ridiculous shit, like mad.
That's like, what else do you need? Like, it's too good. Like. And I hope you have that energy. Like, I'm like in terms of, like, the left, like, stuff, like, obviously, like, we'll continue the article in a second, but, like, I'm really concerned about, like, the People's Party thing. You know what I mean? Like, if they actually, like, try and, like, do that, I'm like, you guys realize, like, you'll get a Republican Senate again. Like, I am all for third parties as soon as we get rid of first past the post voting. Like, it's so easy. Like at that point, yeah, third parties all the fucking way, represent, like, you know, proportional representation. Like, I am down, but until we get there, they're nothing but spoilers, and that really fucking sucks, but that's the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And first past the post, it's you can look into the actual the psephology of it all, and it's basically, it will always narrow down to largely one of two choices. Even like in Britain, people say, well, we don't have a two-party system. We basically do. I mean, there are other parties, but they're largely regional ones. That's it.
Mm-hmm. What are, like, I know, like, what Labour and like the Conservative parties are like. What the fuck do the Lib Dems believe? Like, I've never been able to get, like, a serious answer.
Well, because they're not fundamentally a serious party, it seems. They're a combination of, like, socially liberal and kind of economically conservative people. The Liberal Democrats started as a party because it was the joining of the Liberals and what were called the Social Democratic Party, which were breakaways from the Labour Party. So it's like they didn't want...
Back when the Labour Party was cool.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. They didn't want the actual socialism, but they just wanted to be, like, okay with the gays. So it's that sort of thing, basically. But they completely fucked themselves because they were essentially running as a kind of... We're the nice leftist people. We're the socially centre-left, centre people, and then joined the most right-wing government in modern times and completely fucked it. And now they're down to, like, 8 MPs from, like, 40 or something. So.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they're dead. They completely fucked themselves. which, fuck them. You want to sell out, you sell out. Oh, hang on. We've got cat. 1 second.
Ooh, cat.
1 second. Come here. There he is, the boy. Hello. Oh, yeah.
Nice. What's his name?
Rory.
Nice.
Legend. Anyway. Yes, sorry. Where were we? Yes. Remain loyal. Yes, so far he has focused primarily on Georgia, where he believes the Republican governor and Secretary of State betrayed him by certifying his loss there. Actually, that's interesting because there are going to be criminal investigations into that because it was obviously like trying to intimidate and voter fraud.
Yeah, like it's so funny. Like, I honestly hope he gets impeached for nothing more than just like you have to show that there's some kind of consequences. And I think he will be so much more limp dick in terms of like what he can do to the Republican Party if he gets impeached. Because at that point, like, he can no longer run for office. So at that point, he's not a threat anymore, aside from just being a loud voice. Yeah. And I think a lot of like at least like the mainstream conservative media, like Fox, will turn on him like immediately.
Oh yeah, once he's not useful anymore, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like at that point he'll just be like the screaming man in the attic, and at that point he has no power. So I'm really like hoping for an impeachment. But if it doesn't happen, yeah, I mean like you said, like there's like the fucking that phone call alone was enough for like I would say like the class like the qualify for an impeachment. Like holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Like every time I like listen to that video, I listen to it like 6 or 7 times. And like, how dumb are you? Like, especially like in a world where everyone has a smartphone. Like, my God.
You have to assume that was being recorded. He's an idiot. Anyway, but he doesn't care. Like, and this is the thing. I can't wait to see what gets discovered in like the archives and stuff. Because if he's prepared to do that shit in public, or in essence in public, what the fuck kind of shenanigans was he up to in private?
I know, like I'm so excited for the investigations into like the corruption of like the last administration. Like there's so much to find, and I'm really hoping that without him in office, like being like an ever-present voice, we can just focus on the crimes and less like on the theater of like him being like, oh, these establishment's trying to take me down. Like, it's like we're gonna find some like heinous fucking shit and a lot of it.
Oh yeah. How often do you think he uses the N-word?
At least once a day.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
I feel like the way he talks, I'm not like I can't even like I'm not sure if anyone's like ever heard him say it, but I can't even imagine like his lips like like it's not in his vocabulary because he already has like like a 500 word vocabulary.
Yeah.
So like I feel like the extra like it might be in there, but it just feels like
one of the few double syllable words he has. I think he definitely does. Yeah.
Like totally fair. It's like also makes me wonder because like, he was like the rich white guy like growing up like in New York, and like
he was referring to black people as boy. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Right. So like I feel like his racism would be more like along the lines of boy and less the N-word because I feel like he just like wasn't like probably like in his lexicon, but like that's neither neither here nor there. I can definitely see him saying it, but I just don't think it's like in every other sentence in private because it just feels like it's not him. It's more like, please give me a Diet Coke as opposed to like,
He had a fucking Diet Coke button. Oh my God. That's so on brand for him. Fucking hell.
I mean, like, I think that's the only thing I could potentially respect. Because if I had a fucking button, my roommate came in and got me a Coke every time I clicked it, I would keep that fucking button. I would make one myself.
But like it's not even a drinks button. It's specifically a Diet Coke button.
Like, that's fair. If it was like maybe like, oh hey, like what do you want, sir? Like, because like what like a real billionaire would have, like like Bloomberg or like or Bezos. Like, what do you desire, master? It's like I only like Coke.
Yeah.
Like, give me more Diet Coke.
Exactly. Like you'd have a range. You'd have options. You'd have like a milkshake button and a fucking a Dr Pepper button. Like you'd have some different options. I think.
I take back what I said. What you said like sounds much better. Just have like a list of like like your 6 favorite drinks, like 3 alcoholic, 3 non-alcoholic, and you can just like hit whatever one you want. Like, oh my gosh, let's go.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, continuing. Both are up for re-election in 2022, and he took something of a test run over the weekend by getting involved in the leadership fight in Arizona Republican Party after Kelly Ward, the firebrand chairwoman, asked for his help in gaining re-election, according to a person familiar with the discussions. By the way, have you seen the Arizona? They're crazy like Q people running the GOP in Arizona.
Oh yeah, I've seen like they linked to Sticks and Hammer, who's like just a straight up like Holocaust denier. Like, yeah, dude,
fucked.
Like they're fucked. Like it's actually like I'm actually really like interested in terms of like the specific like factions or like not factions like regional areas of the GOP, because like Arizona, like the reason why we can meme on them so much is because they're like the most open and obvious, right? But like what level is each like state Republican Party apparatus at in terms of like strict like like flirting with neo-Nazism? Like
yeah,
because I feel like there's like I feel like if you like had say the New York Republicans, like if they exist. Like I mean, like there's a lot of them because like there's a lot of people in New York. But,
well, there's like the Hamptons as well, isn't that's New York State? So there's probably a few rich fucks. Yeah.
One of my friends, he's a lefty now, but he called himself a New England Republican. And he's like, yeah, we're essentially just like a bunch of people who don't hate like gay people, but like them taxes though, like.
Yeah, Mitt Romney. Yeah.
Yeah, like literally Mitt Romney. Like.
Yeah. Although he's not well, he was. He wasn't originally from New England, but yeah. He was so he funny. The governor of Massachusetts or something? Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Where are we? Already there is a movement at the state and local levels to challenge incumbent members of Congress seen as breaking with the former president, starting with the 10 Republicans who voted to impeach him this month. You go on.
No, sorry. Like, I'm actually like, if depending on how many of those like lose their races, I think will like really determine like just how scared everyone is of him, right? Like, if all of them like cruise to re-election, then that's fine. But if like any number of them like get taken out, it's like fucked. And he like he'll get that iron grip of control, even if he is like impeached, right? There's so many like different levels in terms of how powerful he's going to be, and I don't know where he's going to end up. I'm going to go grab a drink. Keep reading. Like everyone can still hear you still. So I'm just going to like run out and grab a glass of water.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yes, so thank you to Lace Argar, who subscribed to me 7 months at tier 1. Good Lord, we're 2 months away from a stream, baby. You are a hairy man. That is correct. Add us to... hang on. Where am I? Sorry. Add us to the on-screen chat, please, so all that your children can feel your love. Thank you for being lovely, XX. Well, thank you very much. You can all subscribe to me as well if you want to, or just follow me for free. Or you can subscribe to me for free if you've already got an Amazon Prime and you go to the Twitch channel, and you can do that there for free. We can redistribute Jeff Bezos' billions. I don't know how to add that onto the screen, to be honest, Lace, but yeah. And I'll be more than happy to play Civ with you at some point, yes. But, yeah, anyway.
I have returned.
Good. I was just getting some housekeeping out of the way. Where are we? Boom, there we go. So, yes, the overwhelming consensus among Ohio Republicans is that a Trump-aligned candidate would be best positioned to win a competitive Senate primary, and no potential candidate has a better claim than Mr. Trump's voters in the state than Representative Jim Jordan. He who enjoys is, let's say, an enthusiast of child rape. Who was Mr. Trump's chief defender during his first impeachment trial and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, thus completely ruining the possibility or the worth of that medal. During
like between him and like Rush Limbaugh, like everything's so fucked with that. Like when you use all the different like ceremonial stuff of government like for just personal favors and shit, it's so fucking gross. It's not even like saying that like other presidents haven't done something similar, but he was just so blatant. It's like, oh, like did you suck my dick? Here's a medal. Did you defend me on television? Here's a fucking medal. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. I believe I'm right in saying that Devin Nunes is now the only person that has the Presidential Medal of Freedom who has also sued an online cow.
Like, what a fucking loser. Like, these guys are such little bitches. Like, all these, like, manly conservative guys are like, someone was mean to me online. Like,
and he took
like, fucking, like...
That ran months as well. That went to, like, the fucking state to like the Ninth Circuit or whatever at the whatever state he was in, California, I think. Yeah, he took that all the way it could. Like, motherfucker, you're suing a satirical cow. Just stop. You've got important shit to be doing. You're a congressperson. Anyway.
Does he though? Does he have important stuff to be doing?
Probably not. No. Well, I mean, other than making sure his saliva is constantly bathing Donald Trump's testicles. Other than that, yeah. So, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom during the former president's final days in office. Quote, Jim is well positioned if in fact he's ready to take the leap. I'm not sure there's anyone that would beat him, unquote, said Ken Blackwell, a former Ohio Secretary of State and longtime Portman ally, who last month served as an electoral college voter for Mr. Trump. And actually, an interesting statistical quirk with the electoral college, which I quite like, was I like the electoral college, I like the quirk. Is he got exactly the same number, 306, as Trump, Biden did, but because there were two faithless electors, Trump's official tally was 304. So Biden beat him by 2 votes, and I like to think that those 2 votes were both Bill and Hillary Clinton, who were electors in the state of New York.
That's so fucking good.
That's just a nice little quirk of history for you there. Yes, where were we? Referring to Mr. Trump's legions of supporters, Mr. Blackwell added, quote, in Ohio, it's going to be who has the track record to show their agenda respects the newly realigned party base, unquote. Which is basically, you have to be a fascist to win in Ohio, which is worrying.
Which, yeah, concerning, because you'd think, when you think of Ohio, you think moderate Republicans, but honest to God,
yeah,
it's really hit or miss, how aggressively bad different Republicans are.
Yeah, what the fuck happened to Ohio? Because it used to be a relatively vaguely sane place at one point, but now it seems to be Trump country.
Yeah, it's just there's a whole set of reasons why it's been steadily growing red for a long time. Also, we can't discount this at all. Republicans have a lot stronger ground game than Democrats in terms of state legislators and state house races. And especially during the Obama administration, we got our clocks cleaned at the state and local level. And a lot of those are the places that draw districts and shit. So it's you have a massive voter suppression or redistricting in ways that you wouldn't have expected before. And or different laws that make the lives of people worse, or anything like that. So they definitely made every state more winnable for Republicans everywhere they got power. And that was a lot more places than you would expect.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's an interesting split, because it's not north versus south as maybe it once was, but much more city versus rural, it would appear.
Oh yeah, everywhere. Yeah, that's literally it. If the rest of Illinois is red or leaning red, but because Chicago exists, they elect Democratic governors and Democratic senators because it's one of the biggest biggest cities in the country. It's just right there. So
yeah. Well, the same with New York. Upstate New York's pretty red, but New York City is by far the biggest city in the state. So it's solid red in terms of senators and in terms of the presidential vote, but Republicans will win the local elections and stuff in the counties. But there we go.
And it's super fucked in terms of power sharing, because a lot of actual serious stuff goes through state legislators.
Yeah.
But because of how everything is demographically placed, if you have it's I went to school in Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, right? And in Pennsylvania, you have 2 blue spots, and then what we unaffectionately call Pennsyltucky in between. Just and because you have blue spots in Pittsburgh and blue spots in Philly, Philadelphia, and then everywhere else is Trump country. The problem is that you get 5 districts around each city when they have more people than the rest of the state combined, and the rest of the state is just all red. So if you look at the state legislator, it's fucked. Yeah. So what often happens is even right now we have a very centrist I'm in Florida now, but I am the true Florida man, Trump. Fight me in single combat. We will determine who is that person. But this happens essentially everywhere where there's massive conservative rural areas, is you have either a conservative governor with conservative House, or if we're lucky, you get a Democratic governor with a conservative like state legislator, because they have so many more fucking seats, because like so many like counties are rural, and it's really hard to win on this like the local and state level for that reason, because all our people are in cities, and like who wants to move to like the middle of bumfuck nowhere just so you can turn like, you know, a single like state senate seat blue? Like fuck that, I'm not going. Like
Exactly. This is why what you need to do is have a rule that you're not allowed to vote unless you live within 10 miles of a Starbucks. Simple.
got him. No Republicans will ever win again. We've cracked the code.
Yeah,
we have our own gerrymandering.
If you live more than 10 miles from a Starbucks, you are not in civilization, so you don't get to fucking vote. Okay, stay on your tractors and fuck your family, whatever you fancy. You don't get to run the place.
In defense of my rural relatives, they don't do that, but like, yeah, I get the spirit.
I'm just saying there's an option. Okay, I'm allowing them the option. They're entitled to their incest. Oh wow, I wonder why I don't get monetized. Mad.
That's more of a South thing than a specifically rural thing.
Well, if you call it Pennsyltucky, like you know what's going on there. Let's not.
That's fair.
Let's not beat around the bush. You know, there's a lot of odd-numbered fingered people. Just, you know.
Why do we always like? Why is the extra finger like the like thing for incest? Like, is it? Like,
well, it's like a chromosomal issue. I think is the you know, if you're born with 9 fingers, that's abnormal. It's not wrong. I'm not saying like I'm not having to go at people who are disabled. I'm just saying
cancelled against people.
Exactly. Yeah. The 9-fingered community are gonna rise up against me. Okay. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, thank you to Country Bollocks who gifted 5 subs. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And all of those people need to thank them for that. Anyway, well, they don't need to thank them for that, but you can if you want to. Yes. So where the fuck were we? Mr. Trump is now ensconced at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. And actually, that's my favourite thing of his failures, a very underplayed part of his failures. He tried to make Mar-a-Lago White House South. Like, he tried to get that thing going. It never did.
I know.
He totally flopped. Oh, lovely. Anyway, where aides are building something that can serve as an office. What? Something that can serve as an... What, he doesn't have an office?
He didn't have an office before? Like, he's like, I like the presidential, like... house. I saw like this fucking SNL thing with George Bush where he was like, yeah, I have an exact replica of like the Oval Office in my basement. It's like, but Trump's actually fucking doing it. Like,
oh god. Well, they've just got. Maybe he could, as a parting gift, they could give him the Diet Coke button, because they're not going to use it at the White House anymore. So save him some money. Because I hear he's hard up, considering he's not paying any fucking tax. He's been golfing several times and was spotted by people at his club in Florida playing with the brother of the former tennis star Anna Kournikova on Sunday. That is some D-list bullshit right there. That's embarrassing.
It's not even her. It's her brother. Like,
oh no! Oh, that's bad. Like, he's gone downhill, because at least like last week he was getting fucking My Pillow guy. Like, he's downgraded from My Pillow guy. Oh.
What level do you think My Pillow guy's? I think he's like firmly C-list. And then, like, this guy's D-list.
Yeah, this guy's off the charts. He's the brother of someone who's vaguely, someone who used to be, like, famous for being hot, because she was never good at tennis. Anyway.
Wait, was she not? I thought she was good at tennis.
Well, she was, good in, like, the general sense, but at the world level, like, she never won any of the majors.
Really?
No. She was, she was okay, but she was never great. Anyway. His advisors have had discussions about whether to get him back. Also, she was famous because she was fucking Enrique Iglesias.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Is he like another sport?
No, he was a pop star in the 90s. You will definitely have heard the song "I Can Be Your Hero, Baby." That song.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You forget how old are you again? Sorry.
Well, thank you. I'm 79. No.
What's up, you
33.
boomer motherfucker?
No, that's not that old. That was like 2002. That's fine.
I was 5 years old in 2002.
Oh, fuck's sake!
I'm a Gen Z baby, Team Umizoomi.
Oh, well, all I'm saying is anyone born past 1995 needs to be erased, I think. You're too young and beautiful and happy.
It's like, oh man, like, millennials just like nothing matters, and Gen Z's like, yeah, nothing matters. Aha, Joker. Like, yeah. So, I'm the oldest and saddest Gen Z. Like, my younger brother, he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, yeah, games. Like,
oh, young people. Oh God, I was young and thin and beautiful once. Before you were alive, probably.
I'm sure you're still beautiful. You said like you're what, 31, 32?
33. Yeah.
Okay. See, I was close.
You were.
Like, you're only 10 years older than me. Like we can still be friends. Like.
Oh, well, thanks. Thanks for letting the old codger into the group. I'm very, very grateful.
You want to play games later? No, it's like no, but actually, it's weird, right? Because I just graduated college, obviously, so I don't like have a ton of experience, like like being around people who like aren't my own age. So like I've like made friends who are like substantially older than me. Like my neighbors are I think 30, and like I see them every now and then, like when we like have dinner and like play chess, and like they're 7 years older than me, and it doesn't matter because like honestly it doesn't like matter. And like I feel like it's like once you're like 20-ish, like nothing matters after that, because at that point like everyone's an adult. So
yeah,
but
basically yes, that's absolutely true. But
now
I feel
weird when. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say now I feel very, very old.
No, you're young at heart, and
well, that's not true.
And
that's definitely not true. No.
Oh well, then now you deserve the old moniker. You've done this to yourself. I gave you the out, and you're like, no, I choose to be old. Like, what's that mean? It's like I choose to die. Like,
yeah, no, I've got a coffin set up. I sleep in it every night just in case. Saves being lifted up.
Oh my god.
I'm joking. His advisors had discussions about whether to swiftly moving on from that. His advisors have discussed about whether to get him back on some form of social media platform, although they insist that are there any social media platforms he's allowed on?
I don't think so. I think he's still banned from Twitter and Facebook, and those are like the big ones, right? Like
but he's banned from everything. He's banned from Pinterest. Like,
oh my god!
What was he even? Why would he be on Pinterest? But he's banned from it, so he's banned from like everywhere. Although they insist he does not need to be on Twitter or Facebook to raise money, and that his email solicitations continue to work well. On Monday, he formally opened the office of the former president to manage his correspondence, public statements, appearances, and official activities.
It's like F's in the chat for like every person who's still like sent him money like through that bullshit like stop the steal scam. I think he raised like over $40 million. Like it was so fucking bad. Like, well,
especially after he pardoned Steve Bannon for stealing $1 million or $1.5 million of Trump supporters' money. Who they set up like a scam, build the wall fund, and they raised like $2 million, and he stole $1.5 million, and Trump pardoned him. So why would you still be sending Trump money when he's literally pardoned the guy who stole money from you?
I mean, eventually you'll run out of pardons or you'll run out of money, Oh, also, someone in my chat said Tumblr has not banned him, apparently, so he can revitalize Tumblr and make it like a Nazi paradise.
Awesome. So it'll be like weird fucking 14-year-old uwu kids and fascists.
And it's like, does anyone still use Tumblr anymore?
I don't think so. I think I used it once ever, like, or something maybe. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's the MySpace of the 2010s.
It's so confusing. Like in terms of like one of my people says like they use it for like artsy porn. I'm like, Okulicho, don't ever say that again. I know you're 17, so like, stop it.
That would be legal here. You're allowed. That's fine.
Oh,
16.
Okay,
here.
Yeah.
So
okay, yeah, they're Scottish, so.
Oh, are they? Oh well, my apologies. My condolences. No, I'm only joking. No, Scotland needs to be independent at this point. England is dragging you down. Anyway.
Fair.
Yeah. As President Biden's inauguration approached, Mr. Trump began telling some allies that he was considering forming a third party if Republicans moved to convict him in the Senate trial. But by Saturday, after his own advisors said it was a mistake, Mr. Trump started sending out the word that he was moving on from his threat. That's the thing. He's too skittish to like ever hold anything together.
It's like he's just like one of those, like, what do you call them? Like something like weak bully. Like it's like a specific type of bully that like backs down as soon as you like stand up to them, or like it could be like
like a cry bully.
Yeah, a cry bully. Sorry, yeah, exactly. It's someone who's like just like, oh, like let's do it, like, you know, like we gotta give everyone like courage and like stop the steal, and like we're gonna go down and fucking break into the Capitol building and like, you know, give them the courage they need to like, you know, give me the election. And then like as soon as that stuff happened, he's like, we never met, and you're all Antifa.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. Like he literally went, I'm gonna walk down there with you. We're gonna go to the Capitol building, and then he got back in his limo and fucked off back to the White House, where he then went, no, these nothing to do with me. Fuck these people. These people are crazy criminals, and yet some of them still support him. What the fuck? Although it was good to see, you know, the QAnon shaman, the weird guy with like the bull horns, the famous image from the storming of the Capitol. He's now, his defense is now that he was duped by Trump.
Oh my God! I only committed fascism because someone lied to me. Like I wouldn't have done it otherwise. Yeah. Like also like a small side tangent, like all like the random like lefty this is specifically like for Ashby Coffin, but it was like, stop being horny about fascists. Like there's so many like attractive leftists who will literally like walk you like a dog. Like stop it.
Yeah, indeed. Bad. That is legitimate horny jail. Stop now. Like that's life imprisonment in horny jail. Yeah.
That's like.
Quote, he understands that the best thing for his movement and conservatism is to move forward together, that third parties will lead to dominance by the Democrats, unquote, said Senator and reanimated corpse Lindsey Graham. The South Carolina...
He said that like with like the cum still dripping off of his lips.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Please, Mr. Trump, don't abandon
me. Yeah. I think that's translated because it's difficult to parse what he was saying. He was kind of had his mouth was full at the time, but it was garbled sound. But I think that's what he said. The South Carolina Republican, who is a close ally of Mr. Trump. A close ally is an interesting way of describing glory hole cum dumpster. But never mind. Advisors to the president say he has just over $70 million in his PAC, Save America, with few restrictions on what he can do with it. For now, most of his staff is on the government payroll afforded to former presidents for a period of time after they leave office.
That's a limited, like that's not big in terms of a national election, but like in terms of like state or local like primaries, that's a lot of fucking money. He could easily flip like, you know, 50 like state or local races with that sort of shit. So like that's definitely more money than we want him to have.
Well, it'd be interesting to see whether if he tries to primary certain people and fails, whether he'll just run them as like third party candidates. Just to fuck them.
Oh man,
because Trump's petty enough to allow the Democrats to win just so he can fuck up his enemies because he doesn't care.
Oh yeah, I think I really guess like it depends on like how much they reject him like during the primary, right? Where it's like if you're a Republican, you're getting primaried by a Trump Republican, and you're like, I agree with the president, but like he should be supporting me, and like you manage to win, like he's probably not going to eat your ass or like try and like third party you. But like if someone was like, I don't believe in Trump's values, he's a threat to America, conservatism and the Republican Party need to move on, and then he loses, he'll probably be a lot more just like, all right, just fuck it, nuclear cake, like the nuclear Diet Coke button.
Yeah, I'm going to run 12 conservative candidates against you, you prick. Just fuck you. Yeah. Officials are working to mend Mr. Trump's relationship with Representative Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, and the House Minority Leader, whom Mr. Trump called a vulgarity for his House floor speech denouncing the former president's rally address before the riot on the Capitol on January the 6th. A senior Republican said that aides of the two men were trying to arrange a meeting or a call in the coming days, and Mr. Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., spoke with Mr. McCarthy recently, and the two are on good terms, a person briefed on the call said. It's interesting. Actually, Donald Trump Jr. is one of the most pathetic people, because he's trying to be like the man, right? He's trying to be the dude who's going to like take over the Trump brand, and clearly it's Ivanka.
Like, oh man, like he doesn't even have like the bullshit confidence or charisma that his dad does. Like,
no.
Trump's one like decent quality, or like sorry, like not decent quality, but like quality that you could say is like an asset to exist in, is that like he can just fucking bullshit for forever. But if you like listen to his son talk, dude is like has the charisma of a wooden door. Like, my fucking god.
True, although he wouldn't be. It's not. I mean, I feel kind of sorry for all of his kids, because his kids are either people he wants to fuck, or people he is just downtrodden with his remorseless, I don't even know, shittery, like his lack of any kind of love. Like he's not a loving person in any way, you know.
I feel like he's just like, Donald Jr., you can stay because you're like you're the best shot I got because like I believe in like, you know, the patriarchal line of succession. Ivanka, you're my side piece. Eric, I don't even know what you do, and then Tiffany, you exist. But like apparently Tiffany Trump is like also like a pretty hardline conservative, like in Gavin Nunes, like Matt Gaetz like wants to fuck her or something. I saw like it was like happy birthday Tiffany, and it was like, dude, you're trying so fucking hard to get into the Trump dynasty. Like just fucking stop. It's so gross.
And Trump's also like, who's the little guy? Barron. Like, who's that? I don't know who that is. Okay, fair enough. I've never met him. I don't know who he is. It's nothing to do with me.
Like Barron could be a totally nice kid. It's like, I'm sorry that your like dad was like the first fascist president America's had in a while. Like, well, fuck. Like,
considering all of his other kids, what are the chances he turns out to be not a complete prick?
I don't know. I feel like the prickiness, like he could just be like a spoiled rich boy prick, like what, like his mom, right? Or like what? Because like it is like his mom
who raised him.
Yeah. So I feel like he might just be like generally like snooty rich asshole like flavor, as opposed to like dumb fuck, like potentially like fascist flavor. Like that's also like a rich like fuck boy. So like
also it's bound to have been imprinted on him as because he grew up with his dad in the White House to a degree. Like he's just becoming an adult now, right? So
I forgot. Oh shit, he's probably like the king of like every Chan board under some like anonymous. He is Q.
He's confirmed. Like, is he if he's 17, that would definitely work. That would be amazing. But yeah, no, it's he might want to think to himself, well, I don't want this public like he's seen his dad get called everything under the sun in the newspapers. He's probably thinking to himself, I can just be a rich kid in private. I don't need to be this fucking dickhead.
I know. Like it's so weird. Like people like Trump and like Elon Musk just confuse the fuck out of me. Because let's say, you know, I made $1 billion or something akin to like I was worth that much fucking money. Why would I need to like get more adoration and praise from like people around me, like him or like fucking Musk, like who's like sharing stolen memes on Twitter that are like 6 months old, like
crusty, dusty old memes,
Like I like almost have more respect for Bezos, who's just like, I am above this. I am as close as you can get to a living god. I control literally the entire American supply chain. I don't need to talk to you peasants. Elon Musk is like, hey guys, like, did you see this Rick and Morty meme? Like, it's really cool. Please love me. Like,
I'm so cool. Look, I was in the Iron Man movie. Yeah. Oh, just stop, Elon. It's pathetic. Please.
Also, one sec. Wait, so like Trip 111, sorry, 011 in chat. Like, I don't know who you are, but like, fuck you. Like, it was just, he's just like, whoa, 7 viewers, like, suck ass. I'm like, I've just started streaming on Twitch. Leave me alone. Like, what's your YouTube channel look like? Fuck you. Like, sorry. I'm petty like that. I'll debate your ass later, Trip. I don't know who you are, but I assume you're a sad boy. But
yeah,
like, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, also, you know, internet numbers don't really mean a lot. Like, you know, even like, you know, PewDiePie does his videos like in 2-day-old fucking pants. Like he's not like none of these people. If you're on the internet, it doesn't matter how famous you are. You're not like a proper celebrity or an achieved person. That's not how this works.
Like serious question though. Like what? Like where are like those like people in like the list tier of like celebrities, right? Like I feel like even like the biggest internet celebrity is like a D-list at best.
Yeah.
Like PewDiePie or like, you know, like the people like this Sky's Toast and like the other like big streamers like Pokemon and stuff. Like I feel like they're nothing. They're like D, like it's like
they're like the people that I mean I don't watch the reality shows very much, but you know when you see the list of people and it's like this person that person, was that a sports person from like 40 years ago? Okay, that's interesting. And then it's like internet blogger. Who the fuck is this person? I've never heard of them. And I'm on the internet and I don't know who this person is. So the average person in the public doesn't know. Like, they wouldn't know who PewDiePie was, or, like you say, Pokemon, or Hassan, or anyone. They don't. No one knows who these fuckers are.
Like, oh my god! Like I got terminally online like this past year.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't know who like Destiny was, or who like Like my like media diet was essentially like Kyle Kalinske, sometimes the Majority Report and Michael Brooks, and then eventually Vosh. And like I literally like found out who everyone was like after that, and I was like, holy fucking shit! Like this whole ecosystem that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
But like it does now, and I'm like, and like for like some of the bigger people, like I didn't know that like H Bomber guy existed for fucking forever, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like there's just like if you just don't. Like the algorithm is a motherfucker because if you don't like get like a video recommended, you're never gonna see any of these people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, imagine, but look at it this way, right? Like if you're PewDiePie, like you've got 100 million subscribers. That sounds a lot. Firstly, there's lots of doubles up there. So let's say it's 90 million or something. That's 90 million across a planet of 8 billion. That's a drop in the bucket. No one can, like, it's not, you're not a famous person at that point. You're not even like famous like a kind of D-list musician would be famous.
Right.
So
I really put them on the same level as like an indie like band person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone who's like technically like made it, but like no one really knows who they are. Like there is this like actually in like small off topic thing, right? Like in terms of like D-list celebrities, there's a lot more people now who like just kind of make like solidly or like lower middle class livings like in music and online. And I think that's honestly I mean it's cool that like people can like make money and like have jobs online, but it's like it just feels strange, right? Because you used to like think of like musicians and stuff is that they'd always like get super big, or like streamers would always get super big, but like there's a lot of people who are just like I have like some like flavor of 5 figures of like subs or followers, and like they do good work, and like that's like just their like day job. And I think that's like honestly pretty healthy, I guess. I wish more people like had the opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You never used to think of them like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm on the verge of being able to make a living from this, which is really nice. That's it's not like a great living just yet, but it's it's okay. You don't need to be that big to do this, really. But to the person in the chat who says they were in the pub and they heard 2 people talking about Jordan Peterson, and so, but that's the thing. Jordan Peterson is beyond that. But Jordan Peterson is beyond the internet. Like he was an academic. He'd written books and stuff, shit books, but books nonetheless. And of course, he was like being interviewed on mainstream media stuff all the time.
Like all the time.
Yeah. So he's not like just an internet person. That's the point I'm making. The internet is such a reasonably small thing, but getting bigger, because obviously as the Gen Z people become more and more, and then whatever the next generation's going to be, and the boomers start to fucking die, finally.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. But you know what I mean? Like the internet will become a larger thing, and maybe YouTube stars will be bigger, and eventually we're going to have a YouTube elected politician at some point. Like there's been trials with that, and it's flopped badly. But eventually they'll be big enough that they'll have like the Donald Trump fame effect, and be able to slingshot themselves into some sort of political office, which will be interesting.
That'd be pretty fun. Like I mean, like I feel like we're already like sort of getting that in the sense of like not strictly streamers per se, but like say I know Destiny's doing a lot of this, like where he's like campaigning for like smaller like elected officials and stuff. Like imagine being
he went down to Georgia, didn't he, and did stuff.
Yeah, and like it was super cool. He had like like 100, like say what you want about him, like 100 people like actively like knocking doors for like the Democratic Senate election. Yeah, pretty fucking poggers. But like if you can like say flip, I honestly think that like might be the best way the online left can like actually flip some of these like state and local races, is just getting like big enough personalities to like get their fans to like come to a spot and like canvas like for these tiny political people who are like not AOC, right? Like people who like might be like on her level in terms of like what policy she supports, but they just didn't get the exposure. And like I feel like that's gonna be like super powerful, because if every like I think like I'm obviously not big enough, and like maybe you in a couple of months, but it's like every like streamer who like has more than like 100,000 subs, if they did something like approximating that, or like every left-leaning figure that did that like, online, we could start flipping some like serious fucking like places, right? Like if every person was like, oh, get like 20 people and this like flip this like local like mayor like race, or like flip this like Senate like election. Like we have a lot of like actual power. Like it could have like flopped badly and had like no one fucking show up for like the most important election like of the election cycle, like barring the presidential one. But like they got 100 fucking like plus people, and it was like holy shit. If they can like even replicate, like I said, 10% of that. I have a team of like 10 people just like on the ground like working. That could make a fucking difference in like some like local races.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Vosh has talked about setting up a pack and maybe doing something with that, which might be quite interesting as well. Like, I don't agree with packs existing, but if they do, you might as well use them.
Yeah, if we're gonna do it, like we might have one, but that's establishment. You can't do that. Like, oh god, like not to rag on him again, but like, do you see that fucking clip of Jimmy Dore who was like, Bernie Sanders? You mean the head of the Senate Budget Committee? How much more establishment can you fucking get? It's like, are you allergic to winning? Like, fuck you.
What do you exactly like, motherfucker? If in order to achieve any change, you have to get into positions of power. What do you think your achievement of leftism, whatever your version of leftism is, Jimmy, you fucking idiot? How are you going to do that without getting into positions of authority?
Like without like, a full-blown like revolution, like it's just.
But even then, you would have to like have positions. There have to be some sort of at least transitory leadership council of some variety. Like there would have to always be like, unless you achieve full anarchism, which isn't going to happen in the short term, you need to have people in positions of authority who are quote unquote the establishment. That's just reality. Even to achieve anarchism, you have to do not anarchism first.
Yeah, like it just feels weird. Like I get in fights with anarchists sometimes who are like are more like, I want the transitional state right now and I want like anarchism yesterday. And it's like, even like there was a time when I was much more sympathetic to anarchism when I was like watching more like more Vosh and like less other stuff. I was just like come on guys, like are we still okay with like the good the good small changes? Like it's like I saw like I've always like had this kind of philosophy where if you're not happy about like the times you win, even when it's the small shit, life is so fucking depressing. Like you will constantly be sad, and that's not a place you want to be at mentally. It's not a place where you want like the head of your movement to be, because if you're constantly like doomerist, like everything fucking sucks, and even when you win, it's not enough. And like that feels like almost like a black pill in a way, right? Where like, and no matter what happens, unless it's like my ideal structure right now, like everything isn't enough, and it's like you must be really fucking sad, man. Like, are you okay?
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, but someone in my chat says, Haruki, Bernie Sanders was already a senator. That's pretty fucking establishment. Like, and he backed Tulsi Gabbard for president. Like, she was a congressperson. Again, that's establishment, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yep. Andrew Yang was a successful businessman. That's pretty establishment. You're doing well in the system. How dare you? Like, why are you even trying to change it? You're establishment. Like it's like the fucking society meme in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you seen Andrew Yang's like weird fuckery in New York right now? It's so funny. He's such a weird little man walking around bodegas buying bananas and like talking to homeless people. It's really strange.
It's like I don't actually like follow that much. Like I wasn't sure like how fucking odd it was, but like I feel like he's not going to win like the mayor race.
No,
like,
not a chance. He's not from New York. Like, it's not. Yeah,
Like this guy. Like I mean, like
he's so strange. He's the kind of like a leftist Elon Musk in a sense. Like he's rich enough where he could just not do anything, but he injects himself into things he's not going to win in order to just be a bit weird. It's just so strange.
It's like I appreciate him for like normalizing UBI. Like I like the concept of UBI, right? Like if I want like a proper like social democratic society or even like a potentially socialist one, like the first thing is like raising the material conditions of people without forcing them to work. I feel like that's like the first like big step in terms of like actively like changing how society is run. But it's just like, dude, you're such a fucking goober. Like is there no one else that can do what you're doing right now? No one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I think Andrew Yang's an interesting voice in the conversation. Really, like as billionaires go, there could be a lot worse talking. Michael Bloomberg, I'm looking at you.
And he's not a billionaire. He's actually poorer than you think. Like he's only like last time I checked, again, like this is like still monopoly money to regular people. I think his net worth is like only like 1.5 million. He was like actually like. Really? Okay. So like yeah, he's like a businessman who's like quote unquote made it, but he's never gonna be like the big businessman. So it's like there's a lot of guys like that. It's like you have a single company that says like like 40 to like 200 people staffed at it, and like you're a low level millionaire, but you never like hit like worth in like the 9 digits, and just kind of like okay, like what's going on? Like one of my friends actually works at a company that like is or sorry, like I think like I'm not sure like what the specific connection is, but they work like for his venture like company where like they start up like small businesses and stuff like in different cities, and he like works for them.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, and like, you know, all things considered, I'm not the biggest small business guy.
Yeah.
Because bigger business is more efficient and like labor standards are somewhat better. But like if you can like, you know, give people like interesting jobs or like might have like, you know, some like fun startup ideas, I'm not gonna say no. But it just like he just feels like a goober. Like he's like the libertarian tech bro like candidate. And like to be fair, I think I went harder than I should have on a lot of people during the primary. Because I was just like, Bernie's the way, Bernie, and like obviously he was the best. But like I definitely like was like way too hard on like Yang than I should have been, or like even like Steyer. Like again, he was like, you know, he's like a billionaire, but like, his platform was like pretty fucking solid. At least, especially like at least on climate shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's some that I'm comfortable hating. I still like hate John Delaney. I don't care if he works out. Like my loyalty to a fellow gym bro does not extend to like having shitty politics.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like. Even Pete's a slimy fucking weasel, but his policies were still like further left than Joe Biden is right now. It's just like, this feels gross. Like it feels gross saying that because it's like, oh yeah, like I know you're a careerist like bastard who only wants like to attain power for like the status symbol and shit. But like if you like support good things, like as a consequentialist, can I really say no? Like just because I personally like hate you, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A rat with good policies is still a worthy rat, okay?
Like, well, rat lives matter. We are here for you. Like, you know,
exactly.
you matter.
Exactly.
Like,
so let's get through this fucking article.
I was gonna say, like, every time we get like a new paragraph, it's like, oh, there's something new that we have to like fucking duck on. But like,
Mr. Trump would like to seek retribution against House members who voted against him, and he has been particularly angry with Representative Antonio Gonzalez of Ohio and Fred Upton of Michigan, advisors said. He will also at some point focus on the governor's race in Arizona, where Doug Ducey cannot seek re-election. Governor Greg Abbott's re-election bid in Texas and the Senate race in North Carolina as places where he can show strength, and the advisor said. One advisor disputed that Mr. Trump would have an interest in the Texas race.
It's actually kind of strange because you'd expect like Cruz country to be like super in favor of Trump.
You'd think so, although Cruz was talking positively about labor unions today, which made me feel very strange inside. But there we go.
I'm so cynical at this point. Like every time I hear like a Republican talking about like labor unions or like the working class, it's like it immediately sets off like fascist alarm bells in my head. Like I get like that's not like if I'm going to be like more serious, I can't think like that. But like when they say shit like that, but they don't like support like minimum wages and stuff, like it feels so strange.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Oh no, I don't trust them as far as I could fucking throw one of them. But they you know, it's still better than them not saying it, I suppose.
Oh yeah. They have to make the mouth noises, right? Because like if we're talking about like who's better for unions, and unions are like still in the conversation. If one person's like, fuck unions, I want to grind them into dust, like then we have to convince people they have to exist, which is not what you want. You want to convince them, hey, we should probably make them stronger.
Indeed. Oh, and hello to Javi in my chat. Everyone go and subscribe to Javi Quinedo de Esquerdas, or the leftist loudmouth, who is a very fine leftist Spaniard comrade. Anyway.
Nice.
Yes. Where are we? In Ohio, Mr. Gonzalez faces a potential primary challenge from Christine Hagan, a former state legislator who was defeated in the 2018 primary. Ms. Hagan lost in the general election last year to Representative Tim Ryan, a Democrat in the neighbouring district. She said in an interview Monday that she would decide which, if any, of the races to enter in 2022. After Ohio redraws its congressional districts, the state is likely to lose one seat, and Republicans control all levers of redistricting, which is not good. Quote, a lot of people elected what they thought was conservative leadership and now are witnessing somebody cutting against their values, Ms. Hagan said, alluding to Mr. Gonzalez vote to impeach. Mr. Gonzalez's office did not respond to emails seeking comment. Mr. Trump's deepest hostility is reserved for Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, advisors said, and they expected he expect he will expend the most energy trying to damage Mr. Kemp's re-election bid. The governor's original sin was in choosing Kelly Loeffler over Mr. Trump's favoured candidate, Doug Collins, to fill a vacant Senate seat in 2019. But it evolved into something more consuming as Mr. Trump repeated his debunked claims of widespread fraud in the state and held Mr. Kemp responsible for not doing enough to change the election results. Yeah, he's really going after Georgia. But the thing is, even if they flipped Georgia, you would still lose. So I don't even know why you're that bothered. Like, you'd still need to flip Pennsylvania and Nevada and blah, blah, blah.
It's like they don't live in the real world at this point. It's more just like, did you hurt me? Have you sufficiently, like, sucked me off? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's so... I can't imagine existing in that headspace. Like, I really have to, like, imagine, like, trying, like, to find the right kind of mindset where this is how you think. It just feels so odd. I feel like this is part of why like libs can't understand fascists, because it's just like, even like lefties, right? Because it's like, it just feels like is your brain broken? Like, are you okay? Like, who the fuck thinks like that? They're like, he supported someone else in a primary, and now, like, I'm going to try and, like, destroy the Georgia Republican Party.
Yeah, it's pretty straight. Yeah, the conspiratorial mindset, because he's such a narcissist, Trump. He can't conceive of a situation in which he would lose. Like, it's beyond him at this point. Yeah,
like, I'm pretty confident I still lose all the time. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh my god, like this is the dude that's never been told no, never, like, taken it on the chin. Like, yeah. Come on.
Exactly.
Like,
that's the rich kid. It's not a healthy upbringing, because you need to learn that defeats will happen, because there are other rich people too who will beat you sometimes. So you need to learn to deal with defeat. It's a thing that will happen in your life. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Collins, a hardline Trump backer, hasn't decided whether to challenge Mr. Kemp or seek the Republican nomination against Senator Raphael Warnock, the Democrat who defeated Ms. Loeffler in a special election. Excuse me, I think you'll find it's radical liberal Raphael Warnock.
I was going to ask, like, you misnamed him. Like, he's actually pretty cool. Like,
radical liberal is definitely a thing. It's not at all a nonsense phrase said by a robot woman.
It's like... Radical liberal. Like,
Warnock is pretty dope, actually. Yeah. I like him.
Can you imagine being this woman? You're just like, oh yeah, like, I'm just a billionaire vibing, and then, like, oh my gosh, like, some friends at a dinner party said, like, hey, do you want to be like a senator? And it's
and then she started wearing, like, fucking plaid shirts and stuff. Like, oh, you're not like some folksy Georgia backwood person. You're like a billionaire.
It's like. When a wealthy person says they own a farm, it means they own, like, a collective farm that has, like, tens of thousands of acres, and they have, like,
they own half of Montana. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like me. Like, I think my uncle has, like, 30 cows, if that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what, like, actual, like, farmers look like. But, like, yeah, fuck these people.
Indeed. Raphael Warnock, the Democrat defeated blah, 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 and will face voters again in 2022, or he will choose not to run for anything, a Collins aide said Monday. Next on Mr. Trump's personal list is Representative Liz Cheney, a Republican from Wyoming, which Wyoming isn't a real place. I don't know why they've pretended it is. People close to him said Miss Cheney was the only member of the House GOP leadership to vote to impeach. It's unclear whether Mr. Trump will target her seat or simply her leadership post in the House, but advisors said they anticipate that he would take the opportunity to damage her.
Oof. Yeah. How are you going to damage her, buddy? What's that like?
Sarah Longwell, the executive director of the Republican Accountability Project, an anti-Trump group, said she and her colleagues plan to raise and spend $50 million to defend the 10 pro-impeachment House Republicans in primary contests and attack those who voted to object to the Electoral College results after the January 6th riot at the Capitol. She said the group would aim to defeat Mr. Jordan in an Ohio Senate primary if he runs against an establishment-minded Republican.
I am so okay. So, like, small again, like, if PACs have to exist, I am so fucking happy that, like, Republican PACs are eating each other and like dumping a fuckload of money into, like, primary races as opposed to, like, general races. Because, like, if they're competitive, right? But, like, it feels so good that they're just, like, fucking throwing barrels of cash at each other. They're not even running against Democrats yet. They're just like, which shitty right winger is gonna, like, take control? Is it the neocon or is it gonna be the fascist? Like, we don't know. Like,
yeah. Basically. Mr. Jordan's spokesman did not respond to messages on Monday. The 2022 map will be the first real test of Mr. Trump's durability in the party, while Ms. Sanders is running for governor of Arkansas, which should be Arkansas. You choose a way to pronounce it, people. Or Kansas has to become Kansas. One of the two, okay? Rumours that his daughter Ivanka would run for Senate in Florida, oh God, are unlikely to develop further. Okay, there we go. And although his daughter-in-law Lara Trump was said to be considering a Senate run in North Carolina, people close to the family say it is less clear what she will do now Mr. Trump lost.
Nice.
Yeah, good.
Fuck dynasties.
Yeah. Yeah, you overthrew a monarchy, people. Don't try and do like a weird one by proxy or whatever. That's just stop.
We killed the king, but his brother is still in the House of Lords.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Mr. Trump's advisors are more focused on the looming impeachment. He is working closely with Mr. Graham, who has argued to his colleagues that Mr. Trump's Senate trial sets a bad precedent, unlike stoking insurrection, which is always good.
You need more unity. No,
Yeah.
not like that.
Yeah. Mr. Graham helped him retain a South Carolina-based lawyer, Butch Bowers, which again, that's not a real person, that's made up.
Bruce Banner, like,
yeah.
Why would you name your kids like something a little? I mean, like, I'm HanzOfHarkir, so like I can't really like judge, but like that's not my real fucking name. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Your name is Humpeldump Rumpelstiltskin, isn't it? Which is.
Oh yes, call me Rumple. Like,
Rumpikins. Yeah, the Rumpmeister General.
Like.
Anyway, so the definitely not real Butch Bowers, who is also working to fill out a legal team with colleagues from the state. Mr. Graham and others said Mr. Bowers is expected to work with a Trump advisor, Jason Miller, on some kind of response operation. Oh, God. Unlike the first impeachment trial, when the Republican National Committee engaged in a constant defense of the president, including paying for his lawyers, this time it is expected to focus only on rapid response, including calling the Senate trial unconstitutional and a procedural overreach. Two people familiar with the committee's plans said, which is interesting.
That's weak, and like they're literally just trying to like throw the whole thing out. Yeah. And I don't think that there's nothing constitutionally that would stop someone from primarying a former president. So it's like, it definitely feels like they're grasping at straws and they're not setting up a more serious defense. Yeah. So I would say that's generally like a positive thing, because it's almost like they know they're going to lose, so they're just trying to set up like token resistance. So that feels really good, because they were like ready to fight in the trenches. They would like probably like have like, you know, a more serious like defense for the Senate floor, because like otherwise, like, you know, this is the fucking Hail Mary at the beginning of the game, like.
Yeah.
So
basically, so yes. Oh, hang on. Oh, what did I do there? Oh, 1 second. My window's gone strange. There we go. Fuck's sake. So, yes. So that's the end of that article. That took fucking 2 hours to get through that article.
I know. Oh my God. Like this, like content. We got to stretch. Like.
Yeah. Well, we had loads of other stories we were going to talk about, but I can't be bothered now. That took 2 fucking hours. I don't want to start another one.
Like, if we do another one, you'll be up till 4, and I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, it's 10 to 2 at the moment, so there's that. So I'll.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So I'll. I can. Hang on. What am I doing now? I need to unshare from that, don't I? Boom. There we go.
Nice.
Nice indeed. Fuck's sake, I'm so bad at this. Jesus. Anyway, that's the Sky. That's the Discord call now on the screen. Right. So.
No, I totally feel you. I am essentially technologically illiterate. It's a miracle that I've like managed to stream this much. Like, it's harder than you think. I feel like there's sometimes one time I like deleted my like stream connection from Streamlabs, and I didn't know like how to get it back. And I was like fucking running around my apartment screaming like, I have a panel in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How do I turn this back on?
Well, it absolutely, yeah. I was heartened by the fact that when Boris Johnson, the current British Prime Minister, sadly, when he did a live, or attempted to do a live stream, because currently the Parliament, when it sits, because of social distancing, there's like 20 people in there, and they're all sat like 3 meters apart or whatever. And he had to be in Downing Street because he was quarantined, because he might have got it for a second time. This was about a month ago. And the stream, he started off and it started going like robot-y, and then he cut out and he didn't come back. And I thought to myself, if even the British government can't manage it, I don't feel so bad when I fuck up now. Look, if even they can't do it properly, I make it look relatively easy by comparison.
I was gonna say that's pretty, like, all things considered, that's pretty fucking good. Also, holy shit, like, props to anyone who could like stream like back in like 2014, 2015, like without like, because all this tech makes it like way easier. Like, download Streamlabs and like it mostly just does it for you. But like, holy fuck, can you imagine like trying to figure this shit out by yourself? Like way back when like streaming wasn't like considered like a real thing you could do.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, people have been doing this like fucking vlog streams and stuff for years and years, haven't they? Yeah. It's fucking mad. Like you say, yeah, OBS and stuff, it does most of it for you.
Yeah, my God. But I won't keep you so much. Everyone, make sure, if you haven't, follow and use like those Amazon sub things for Kevin. Support content creators. And I just want your follows, not your subs. So give him a follow and a sub. And like obviously sub to him on YouTube and all sorts of stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and go and check out HanzOfHarkir on Twitch and YouTube. Go and sub and follow and all of that shit. The links are below in the YouTube video, so go and check him out. And yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks we should definitely talk again. This was so much fun. Like I think we bounced off pretty well. That was
there's a rapport.
Yeah, I haven't like had that problem yet where it's like I've met some people and like it's really, really nice like to talk to them. And I've been pleasantly surprised that everyone I've spoken to, there hasn't been like any dead conversations or like dead vibes. Yeah. Like I've always it's always like a thing, right? Especially because like there's less people who like make content and stream and stuff. So sometimes you're just like fuck, is this conversation gonna be good or bad? Like obviously like we like talked during the panel, so like I knew like what I was getting into. Like this was like about like just as fun as I expected it was going to be, and that's really fucking fun. So like yeah, that's like. So I'm rambling now, but sorry. Thanks so much.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, go and check all that shit out, and yeah, we'll talk another time, man.
Absolutely, and I'll see you around. So like, yeah thanks so much, and I'm happy to do this whenever you want to read another article for 2 hours. I'm so down.
Yeah, cool, man. Okay,
we can take turns reading paragraphs this time. Like it's like whose turn is it to read now?
Yeah,
like, class reader.
Cool, man. Yeah, peace.
See you later. Have a good night.
There we go. I'll go on to, what should I go on to? Main window. What window capture do I even have? Twitter? Is my Twitter even up? I don't think it is it? Hang on. What's it doing? What is it doing? Hang on. I'll go back onto that, but I'll... there you go. It's the image from yesterday. It's still there because I haven't gotten rid of it, but it's still appropriate because we talked about Jimmy Dore again. How are everyone? We good? Sorry, I wasn't able to like interact a bit more with you all today, but yeah, I was talking to someone, so you know. But anyway, I'll be back technically today because it's like nearly 2 a.m. But this was a later one because in order to try and like fit in with people in America, you sometimes have to like do it at different weird times and shit. But yeah, I'll be back at some point later on today. I think it'll be at the regular time of 7 p.m. UK time, which is 2 p.m. on the east coast of America, and 8 p.m. Central European time is what I was trying to remember to say. Fuck's sake. Yes, so I will see you all then. Hopefully, if you're around. Maybe you are, maybe you won't. Whatevs. Yeah, go and check out HanzOfHarkir. He's a good dude. Good socialist lad from America. All the links to his YouTube and his Twitch are below. Go and check that out. If you liked my content, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube if you haven't already. Hit the bell button so you get notifications, because apparently YouTube doesn't seem to think that subscribers really mean anything. Okay. And go and follow me on Twitch, or you can pay money to subscribe to me on Twitch and use the one emote that I've got up there. I'm going to try and do more emotes in the future, if I can remember to. Yeah, all you can do, you can subscribe to me free there using your Amazon Prime. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free and redistribute Jeff Bezos' money. And we'll have him poor in no time, by which I mean about 1 million years. Anyway, and you can go to the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/. KFLogan1875. That's below. And donate there, or you can donate on PayPal, or if you want to make a recurring donation, you can do that on the Patreon. Again, it's linked below. All my social medias are linked below as well if you want to go and check those out. And I will I'll see you back here later for more chit chat about politics and stuff, and maybe watch some videos and dunk on